Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Good evening and welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We are going to have a great show because our main man, MERLE, is here. Say his name, MERLE. And our special guest, Samantha Mowat, as we are going to be having a great show coming up for you. Dirty Filth is here with another crazy cartoon. And the best part about tonight, we have each and every one of you. We have Kitty Caddywhack in the gold medal position. Race Fan with a silver, Eternity Eternal with a bronze medal tonight. And let's kick things off. We got Algaray over on Twitch. He literally did 742 jumping jacks in 12 minutes to warm up for tonight's show. Paul Shreves, how are you? Mel WD40 is here lubing us up for tonight's show. Because every time Merle goes on a paranormal road trip, he needs to be lubed up. So thank you, Mel, for lubing us up tonight. We really appreciate it. Bar Madison, how are you? Frankie B, Flat 6, Merling it up. He knows how to do it right there. All right, Eternity Eternal. Robert Lamoth, how are you? And Mel WD40, Merling it up. Same as Race Fan. Good job, guys. The lovely and talented Kira is here. Kira will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio, if you don't mind. To the left of the studio. Michael Vieira, merling it up. Fast Hemi, how are you? Mama Catherine, mwah. How are you, my dear? I hope you have a great night listening in tonight. Oh, little Timmy James. He believes in Merle Henry. Look at that. There we go. Stephanie Kenny Blankenship, how are you? Good to see you. Lisa Smith, thanks for coming on in. Hi, Vanessa. How are you tonight? Amanda, thank you for coming on in as we continue on with our roll call tonight. Kurt M., good to see you. And the birthday boy, Paramarv, is here. Look at that. Paramarv, you birthday boy. You looking good, you old son of a gun. Look at you. Merle is even merling himself up. Thank you. And let's see here. Oh, sorry. Algaray did 1,000 Merle ups in anticipation of this show. 1,000 Merle ups. I love it. Marty Burback has returned. Marty Burback will be signing autographs after the show as well. When you get a power Merle like this on the screen, you definitely are signing autographs. Line up to the right of the studio if you don't mind. To the right of the studio. Scrolling on down, let us say hello next to Zen 1. How are you, my friend? Good to see you tonight. And Zen 2. Oh, beautiful. We got both of them in the chat room tonight. Hi, guys. All right. Jules is here. Luscious Jules, merling it up. I'm Hardcore on X, merling it up. David Norenberg, how are you? Good to see you as we continue on with our roll call here. And, yes, how do you guys like the new Wednesday show with Grantavius Max? Good to have him back, isn't it? Yeah, he did a great job with Lee tonight. Oh, it was good. So good. J. True Seeker, how are you tonight as we continue on with the roll call? Operation Shutdown. Matthew Anderson, welcome to SOR Chat as we continue on with our roll call. Jeremy Jones, don't say it, but do not say it. Oh, God. It was a rough game one. Yeah, a rough game one. Ooh, Walter Kotchabinsky, how are you? And, yeah, we're caught up. I may have to ban Jeremy Jones tonight because I think he's going to throw a lot of shit my way. Here we go with the radio side. Hello and welcome to the radio and podcast side of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We got Merle. We got Samantha Mowat on Ghosts of the Great White North. We're going to have a great show for you talking paranormal stuff as we are on roll call with our YouTube chat as we say hello to Creepypasta. How are you tonight? Good to see you. And remember, folks, you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag. And the super chat is open. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. Susan, how are you doing? Hi there, Linda. Do me a favor, everybody. It's that time of the night. Throw those horns up. Let's rock. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot. Read the news wire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. We have an amazing show for you tonight. It's all paranormal with our main man, Merle, from the Paranormal Road Trippers and Ghosts of the Great White North. Our special guest tonight, knitting up a blanket frenzy, Samantha Mowat joins us here to talk about some ghosts as well. So every time this month, well, not this month, every month at this time, I should have reversed that. Our main man, Merle, comes in from Vancouver, British Columbia for a little ditty we call Ghosts of the Great White North. This is where we take a deep look into the paranormal side of high strangeness. It's all about ghosts. It's all about spirits. It's all about hauntings. And maybe a little aliens and cryptids thrown in on the side. Tonight we have special guests with us. Samantha Mowat is here. It's been a while since we've had her on the show. Samantha is a great friend of Merle's and myself. We teamed up to look at Flight 21 the last couple of years, and apparently we are doing it again this year. Yeah, apparently these two are convincing me to camp out there again. Oh, do I despise you guys for that. Totally despise you. Samantha, in my opinion, is not only the best kept secret in ufology, but she is a top psychic, intuitive that I have ever met. And I know this sounds exaggerated when I say this, but Merle can attest because he's seen it firsthand. She's always right. She's always right. I don't know how she does it, but she's always right. Let's bring him in. Merle, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you here.
I'm doing great, Dave. How are you doing? It's a great night today in the hockey world.
Well, we're going to talk some paranormal tonight because it is Ghosts of the Great White North. And, you know, you've been busy lately, buddy.
Busy. We were in Vegas and Nevada a couple of weeks ago. I flew down early and met up with Big Tex in Virginia City, and we investigated. We actually rented the Wash Ho Club for the entire night, just him and I. So we had full access to the infamous paranormal bucket list place, the Washoe Club, which was, if you've seen any paranormal show, you've seen it on TV. It's quite trampled, but it's a place that I was happy to experience and kind of cross off my bucket list. And We also did Mackey Mansion. Again, it was a hot spot for all them paranormal people, and it's been on all the TV shows. And they were both really fun. I went in there thinking we'd be doing possessions and demons and all that sort of stuff, but I'm kidding. It was quiet. It was very quiet. We had some activity in both locations, but I went in there like an excited kid at Christmas time. But yeah, they were fun, Dave. But the best part was Vegas when I got to see you, right?
Oh, you're just way too kind. We got to bring Samantha down to Vegas with us next time. I want to see her hit one of them big jackpots on a slot machine. That's what I want to see. Samantha, how are you?
I'm good, but not much of a gambler, Dave. But we could try. Could be fun.
Well, if anybody can manipulate a slot machine, I'm going to guarantee it's you.
Better with cards and dice, but yeah, we could try slots, see how that goes.
The paranormal, it's been starting to get busy for you, Merle. You not only went to Vegas and met up with us there, and you did Virginia City as well, but recently you were up here in the 108 Mile District looking for ghosts around the heritage site.
I was. This is that site, 108 Mile Ranch, that Dave and I have talked about for years. I put it in the infamous category as well, because there's so many different rumors and stories and lores of all the different ghosts that could and may haunt the place. There's Agnes McVy, Canada's first female serial killer who slayed 50 miners and threw their bodies in lakes around the area. Or there's other wandering spirits that are kind of from the land, going to and from, probably from the gold rush. Or there's Dave's Mary and Willie, who's now known as William, as per our evidence, that lived in the post house, which would have technically been Agnes McVy's lair, villain lair. And it didn't hold back. Like we had one night of really getting to it, investigating, and the barn was really neat. I think I saw that spirit that is in the photo. Well, I know Anthony did, and we got so much action on our spirit chat, like it's kind of like an obulus, and on our SLS camera. It was really interesting. Just the amount of spirit communication we got when the beginning of the night was really quiet, and I was like, oh, here's another washout club, one little blip. But no, once we got the wheels running, rolling, it really paid off. I'm really excited to put a video together and present it to everyone.
Oh, that's very exciting. Very exciting. I mean, for you, when you go into a haunted location, Merle, how do you prepare for that?
History, like I'll read all the history. Like before, I would just go in guns a blazing and be like, "Come at me, bro." But I've refined my skills over the years, and I like to read the history. I like to, like you saw, Dave. We interviewed like 8 or 9 different people, getting everyone's personal story, who they think is haunting there, and the experiences they have. So that's a way I like to prepare myself to investigate anywhere. Get as much personal knowledge, word on the street knowledge, and actual practical knowledge from the history books. So you're going in there to actually have a talk or try and talk with whomever could be haunting the location.
Merle,
Well, I'm going to ask you right off the bat, because this will be the big debate between you and I for a long time to come. What, after investigating and interviewing everybody, what's your thoughts on the legend of Agnes McVy?
I'm pro Agnes, 100%.
yeah.
See, Sam is too. 2 against
Merle,
1. Yes.
do you do any like energy protection or any kind of, I guess, ritual to kind of keep you safe from entities latching onto your aura or entity possession?
No, I do sometimes, but on this last one, I did not. If you want my honest answer,
That's fair.
I felt fine. I felt guarded. I felt safe. If I would have felt some sort of negativity, or if I was feeling a little apprehensive, I would have definitely done that. But this was we were very respectful, I think, because we had the 108 Mile Ranch had a couple requests from us to try and dig up some information from the spirit sifter there, and that's kind of what we what we focused on. Like a lot of the names of the spirits that said to be there, and that stuff is what we really hit home with, and certain dates and which
Mhm.
spirit is where, which I think we were successful at obtaining during the investigation. But maybe I should have saged after, but
Well,
but I didn't.
just out of curiosity, like looking at it from a psychic perspective, what do you do? Like, let's say you go into a space and you feel like it's okay when you first get in there, and then you feel the energy shift, and something comes in that either seems angry or makes you uncomfortable. What do you do to help, I guess, mitigate that and remove its presence or have better control?
Conflict resolution, and
Hmm.
basically just talk respectfully and talk real to whatever spirit is making you feel like that. Um,
Okay.
Before I would hyperfixate on it and get really scared and wound up and not be able to focus, and
Yeah.
then basically run out and be like, I'm done, I'm out. Um, I'll admit that. But now I just push through and I'll just have a real talk, or try to, with whatever's in there. And if there's a clear indication of we're not welcomed in there, I'll respect those wishes. Like I just won't trample over whatever's in there. I'll have like a nice diffusing talk with why we're there. Like when we were in the post house at one point,
Mhm.
it got a little heavy, and then in my mind I switch into all the interviews we had, and I'll kind of quickly go through my head what people said and what they felt and how they
Yeah.
resolved it, and I would apply that sort of thing when doing the investigation.
Okay.
And towards the end of the post house, it we left abruptly. I'll say that much. We were told not to be there anymore, so we just saddled up and went back to the the house. So
That's fair.
yeah, so that's my answer. It's I used to overprotect myself, and then you would never really get any responses, and things like that, and you'd be focused on the I got to keep myself protected so I don't have anything come after me, because I've had things like follow me before, and but I think I've just learned the gift of the gab with the spirit, so to speak, where I feel safe a lot of the time. But it all comes down to respect and reading reading the ghostly room, if you say.
But Merle, for people who aren't accustomed to stuff like this, who might be going to check out like a spooky tour at some point, when you say something kind of like following you or kind of like coming after you, what would that look like?
Your mannerisms can change. You can experience paranormal activity in your house, in your
Hmm.
vehicle. Your animals could be reacting different. You could be a little depressed and tired all the time. A
Yeah.
good habit to do, and I do this. I guess this would be a form of protection. Is like when I left the ranch, I'm like, y'all have to stay here. I'm leaving. You're not. This is your home. I enjoy talking to you, but you're not allowed to come with me. And I'll say that no matter where I am investigating.
Hmm.
And it's a boundary. It's a pretty solid boundary that I keep when doing that, and it seems to work thus far. And I
Okay.
encourage other newer people who are investigating, and even current people who investigate,
Hmm.
to do that, because they will. If you have a tasty energy, they're gonna latch on to you because they want your energy.
You know, that's so funny because I like, sorry for interjecting, but I found back when I used to give readings out of like bars forever ago, I found that a lot of the people that I read who would regularly go to the bar, they would often have energy attachments and deceased people that were connected onto their auric field because they liked the person's energy and they'd go home with them. And then the person would find they're craving alcohol more often or start craving pot or being more reckless with their money, stuff like that. I wonder if it's similar to what you're talking about here, where it's like the deceased people are just interested and find their energy interesting and just kind of follow you guys home, wondering why you're investigating.
100%. I think that's true, and I think
Yeah.
the more negative spirits will
Mhm.
push you to temptation to kind of put you in a stressful situation,
Yeah.
and just don't be tempted. Just say no.
So, what leads you to believe that Agnes McVy is real?
Ooh, good question, Dave. You've been thinking about that one, eh? Um, every 8 out of 9 people that I talked to stated they believe in Agnes for the like when I interviewed, and each of them have said that although she's not around often, she is on the property. Um, some people, like I know you were one of them, and another person actually said it could be a tulpa, which if people don't know, that is like if Dave, Sam, and I every day meet up and say Agnes McVy is real, she's going to haunt 7-Eleven, she's going to be at this 7-Eleven. Eventually, that energy manifests, so they say, as a tulpa, and Agnes will be haunting that 7-Eleven. So a lot of people have said at 108 Mile Ranch that there's so much talk, so much buzz about Agnes McVy that the people created her. Do I think Agnes existed? Yes. Do I think she was an infamous 50-man body count serial killer? No. I think that she could have been a shady lady, and she did have working girls at her ranch. She wasn't the ranch owner. She was a proprietor, whatever that word is, where she ran it allegedly. And if you look at the dates from 1875 to 1885, when Agnes was stated to have been around that area, there is no record. That 10-year span at the 108 Mile Ranch in the Caribou region is gone. There's nothing. So for me, that makes me scratch my head over there. But we'll go into theories for a minute. Could it be they just deleted history because Agnes is bad? Or back then they didn't keep very good records. Like I don't think they would have records of everyone that died or was murdered back in the Wild West. If you're up in a rustic Caribou, what happens up there happens. I don't think there were very many police. I don't think there were very many lawmen. I think there were bounty people, and there would be posters drawn up of people who were bad, who they wanted to come to their jails or you bring them in. But yes, Dave, I think Agnes is a possibility. But do I think the hype and lore of her? I think it's what it is. It's a bit Hollywood, and that's why I was there. I was trying to get down to the, as they say, the brass tacks with it.
Yeah, I'm still of the belief that her energy exists, but she is not there. I think she's a tulpa.
Fair.
Just knowing the history of they wanted a legend to come in when they developed the 108 back in the 1970s, and they wanted to help drive people from Vancouver up there, and they needed a legend, and that's what they kind of created. Now, we do know, and I agree with you, that there is record of an Agnes McVy in British Columbia at that time. But I also know that Agnes McVy the legend brings a lot of people into the museum, and I don't want to break that. I really don't. I've never had a communication with her. I've investigated that place the most out of anybody, and I've never once had communication. And I've tried, but
But go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say one of the first ever EVPs I got from that ranch, and the year was 2015, and it was I was calling Agnes out for being like greedy with gold, and we had an EVP come back saying in a Scottish accent, responding to what I said, of her agreeing that she loves the gold. And if you go again to the record books, Agnes was born in Scotland. She was running from Scottish Yard because she did kill people in Scotland allegedly, and landed here. And what a better place to set up shop than in between 1875 and 1885, where there's no record, in the middle of the Caribou during a very successful gold rush.
But to further, I think, explain why you, Dave, may not have had contact with this woman on a more spiritual level, coming through any form of device, pendulum, Ouija board, you name it, whereas Merle may be having more success, depends upon the energetic vibration you're emitting. You might not have the type of energetic vibration that better connects into mediumship capabilities. at least not to a significant extent. You are very good with claircognizance. You have been quite good with clairvoyance at certain times and, predicting things. But clearly Merle has an energy that's more attuned towards that. And that's why he has more success within this area in particular.
Oh, could very well be. I used to believe in Agnes McVy
Yeah.
until one of my good friends in town, who's literally lived in this town for about 54 years,
Yeah.
talked about the legend of what was going on and why they created the legend. And there are still people who have family who helped create that legend. So that's what kind of changed my mind. Not that she didn't exist, but that she
Mhm.
was maybe just energy built up into a tulpa rather than an actual person. And over the years, people keep going that when they come to the museum, they want to learn about
Mhm.
Agnes McVy. So if all of a sudden you
Mhm.
tell them Agnes doesn't exist, well, that's going to break a tourist attraction. And
Yeah.
so it's easier to keep the story or the legend going rather than all of a sudden say we don't know.
Do you think perhaps that Agnes's birth name may not actually be Agnes McVie? I mean, if she is as infamous as being discussed at the ranch, perhaps she was born a different name in Scotland, was doing God knows what over there, came over here, either stole someone else's identity or adopted a new name. And that's why it doesn't quite resonate to you, the name of Agnes McVie.
I never thought of it like that. That's true.
I
That could be
could
that's
be,
valid.
Yeah, it's a
could be.
very high possibility.
Like I said, I'm still going off like I was a believer of hers.
Yeah.
I wanted to communicate. I was trying to communicate, and then
Hmm.
like I said, when I found out that, the story was made of legend, then
Hmm.
I kind of went, I don't know now. Like I'm not saying she doesn't exist. I don't want to be the bad guy, but I also would like to know the reality, and the reality is she's a tourism attractor. Number one, but number two is we just don't know whether or not the energy that's been pumped into her, like Hat Man or Siren Head or Slender Man, we don't know
Hmm.
if she has been humanly created.
Maybe. I mean, she could be a golem. Those are things that are created from an intense amounts of energy being directed into them and create life force and form their own separate being because of the amount of energy put into them. So could be. Hey, Merle, what's the craziest or spookiest thing you've seen at 108 Mile?
Dang.
Or even top five, just whatever comes to mind.
For 108 Mile Ranch, they're mostly personal experiences,
Okay.
and observing people.
Yeah.
People have experiences. I guess a couple of years ago, I did get followed by something home. Here's a cool story for you.
Hmm.
I was investigating the ranch, and I saw some sort of. I was hesitant to go inside the post house, and Dave knows this story. And the spirit box kept saying like all my friends' names,
Hmm.
and I was hesitant to go upstairs. And but then I looked in the corner where the stairway is to go to the top level of this little post house,
Hmm.
and I saw what looked like a burnt something like dark with like really white teeth and yellow eyes in
Yeah.
the corner.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I'm out, I'm done. And then long story short is when I did the whole everything stay here thing when I left,
Mhm.
and when I got home, sometimes people send me haunted objects from all around the world.
Yeah.
They'll DM me and be like, I don't want it. Do you want it to investigate? And I got these two dolls from like Iowa or something like that.
Merle, hold that thought on the
Yes.
dolls. We're going to go to break. We got Merle. Say his name, Merle, and Samantha Mowat on Spaced Out Radio. We will return with more ghost talk right after this.
Sorry, Merle, I did not think of the timing when I asked you that. I just wanted to hear something interesting.
That's okay. This story's gonna get good. It's gonna get really good.
Yeah.
Ooh, when you
Merle, the reason
describe
why I
it,
cut you off on the hockey talk was because that time's out to tomorrow night.
Oh, that makes sense. I needed to dig you, man. I needed to dig you live on the air.
Well, I know that, but I can't have the time. That's
All
you dig
right,
me a commercial break. I mean, I'm already taking a box full of crap from Jeremy Jones in the chat room.
that's
It's only
funny.
game one.
Dallas and
It's only
4.
game one. Phineas, how you doing on X? All right. Sorry, Samantha.
All good.
Gotta open up a window
Merle,
here.
when you have a chance, like when you go back in the story, can you describe like what position that black thing was in with the yellow eyes and the crazy white teeth and what the teeth look like? Because I love details like that, and I'm sure the other people will too.
I can do that. Yes.
Awesome. I don't want you to have to explain it twice, so I'll just hold off and wait.
That's all good.
Yeah.
Dave, who's on the back of your jersey?
Greatest hockey player in the world right now.
Brad Marchand?
No, not Brad Marchand. Seymour, how are you?
I like
One
the
game.
little Mothman he's making. That's cute.
Oh, Dirty is always working on something.
Yeah. He's
He's
so
warming
good.
up for his big premiere coming up this Saturday.
Nice.
Dirty, are you excited?
Yes.
Hi, Phil. How you doing?
Hi,
I see
Merle.
you
How's it
painted
going, Merle?
your nails.
I did. I had to look nice because you can't see my face. There's too much shine coming off my dome.
It's all good. You're so much better at painting your nails than I am. I am horrible at it, and that's why I don't do it.
I can also write with both hands.
Did you ever break like your dominant hand, and that's why you're ambidextrous?
Yes. I got
That'd
hit
be
by a
why.
car and I mangled these
Oh.
back 2 fingers. So this one's still kind of like my little pinky's still kind of weirded out. So I had to write with my left hand for like 3 months. And then, yeah.
I
it's
can
kinda cool
totally
now.
relate. Yeah,
And it's
rough.
legible as well.
Do you know what? You're really good though. Like you seem to have really good dexterity as well. So
It's probably because I have cats.
probably.
Yeah, I had to redraw my cartoon from the night on Monday because
Yeah.
usually I take it off the table, but I left it on here, and it was probably the gargoyle, and he got to it, and then he decided to climb up the shelf on the side here, and
Nice.
spilled the leftover water, and the picture was just ruined when I got home, and I was like, "You're not getting any snacks, Mr. Gargoyle," and then I caved in and gave him snacks anyways.
Yeah,
I'm a weak-willed man sometimes.
fur babies.
Yeah, so do my own show on Saturday and talk about things like pickle juice and how to
Nice.
deal with angry Sasquatches and stuff like that.
Life skills, life skills.
Yeah, because oops, I
Yeah.
forgot the pizza on the inside of the box.
I'm happy you're doing that, Phil. It's going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm
Very
pretty
fun.
much usually drawing cartoons around that time anyway, so it's the logical
Yeah.
thing to do.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And then if anybody wants to scoop one, they can buy one from me. The original
Yeah.
copy.
Nice, nice. Should also put them on like an Etsy store or something.
Yeah, the only problem is Canada Post is probably going to go on strike, so
Oh right, yeah.
I have to actually go to my Etsy page and tell people to maybe just wait. I might just have to like put the whole thing on pause for a bit.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
that is frustrating.
my mom works for Canada Post, so I always when they went on strike last time, every time I'd see her,
Yeah.
So, Mom, have you decided to find a job, or are you just going to be a lazy bum? And she's like, Klaus, stop it.
I don't know. They work really hard. I think they deserve more money, but I think everyone deserves more money.
Yeah, I love my mom, so we have like a really good relationship. I bug her all the time. Usually
Good.
call her after the show when I know she's about to go to bed. And you're doing Swindlin? I'm
Aw.
in bed. Oh, well, now you're awake.
Mm-hmm.
Mom's
Whatever.
the best, by the way.
Yeah. You're calling her, so that's what matters. So, Merle, do you have
Carol
any weird
Mario, how are you?
things in the back?
Broken Shadow Feather, how's it going? Hillbilly Herb, how are you? Not enough Merling in the chat room, people. By the way,
We
we
need
have
the
a brand new
Merling.
Merle shirt up in our store.
You
Say
should.
his name, Merle. Paisley Parker, how are you? Good to see you. Thank you to Kitty Caddywhack for our lone super chat so far. Here we go, the second half hour. Here we go, the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you for joining us. We were on a great paranormal first half hour with Merle and Samantha Mullet. We will get to them momentarily. But first, we want to remind all of you that if you miss portions of this show or others, our archives are always free on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Here we go, our main man Merle from the Paranormal Road Trippers. It is Ghost of the Great White North, our special guest tonight, Samantha Mowat, psychic, intuitive, ET contactee. Merle, welcome back.
Thank you, Dave.
Are you excited about your new Merle shirt in the store?
Love a good Merle shirt. Get your Merle shirt while they're in stock. There's like 2 left. 2. Now there's 1. It's in someone's cart.
It is a tart shirt. Very tart. It's very nice. Samantha, how you doing?
I'm good. Tired.
All right. Here's a topic, Samantha, I want to get into with you, with Merle here, because you are much like me. You believe the phenomena is absolutely everything. It's cryptid, it's paranormal, it's ufological. Merle's still trying to separate everything, that they are their own separate categories. Why do you believe they're all tied together?
We live in a multidimensional nature and universe, as science has proven time and time again. With all the different vibrations layered upon one another, it's very clear that there seems to be some ability to travel between one dimension and the other with maybe being Sasquatch, ghosts, whatever. People have talked about it for eons over time. And, even looking at what Merle was talking about a few moments ago, where he was discussing how he walked into the post house and he's looking at the stairwell, and there was something there that normally would not be present in our dimension, but now physically within our dimension. The 2 dimensions were either overlapping or it traveled from its original dimension into our dimension. And so when we look at it in that capacity, I think we live in a multidimensional universe where a lot of these things can come and go, either psychically through vortexes, UFOs, or even just rips in time. Who knows? There's a lot of different possibilities. Merle, you were telling us a story earlier. Will you continue with that one? Because I've been thinking about it since before we went on break, and I didn't want to go into anything before we finished.
I can do that. We'll continue. So we're all back in the post house now. And I looked in the corner and it looked like I don't know if you've seen the show Evil. I think it's on Paramount Plus. And it kind of looked like a little burnt person in a sense that had like a really big smile, like white teeth smile, like ivory white.
Yeah.
And yellow eyes, and it was just staring. So
what kind of pose was it in?
Kneeling.
Okay.
Squatting.
Yeah. Did it feel threatening with how it was positioned?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I wanted to ask. Same.
Yeah. So I did the whole, and then Dave came back, and some and Mark came back, and we investigated it, and we thought we got fully rid of it, but I guess it just hopped into my backpack. And like I was saying, I get haunted objects randomly mailed to me sometimes. People will ask, and I'll let them. And I got these 2 dolls. And what I wanted to do is just because they're old, creepy looking dolls, are they actually haunted, or is it a
Mhm.
placebo? Because like
Yeah.
you drive by an old house, you're like, oh, that house is haunted. Or if you see like weird things in antique stores, you automatically think it is because that's what movies have told you.
Mhm.
And so what I did is I solicited like 4 different paranormal teams in the Lower Mainland, like mostly in Vancouver.
Mhm.
And I would go bring them these dolls, and they'd be like, okay, you have 2 weeks uninterrupted to investigate them, and
Mhm.
tell me what you think. Some of the groups got some really interesting EVPs off these dolls, and others got like nothing. But when I dropped them off to a lady in Vancouver, she was a Wiccan. She's like a Wiccan priestess, or like she's a,
Okay.
but she's heavily psychic. Like
Yeah.
you can feel it on her. She's like this older
Yeah.
lady, and she lives in the west end of Vancouver. It's just really nice area. And here I am waddling up with this box of dolls, and I'm like, here are your dolls. And she's like, oh Jesus, is that you or is it the dolls? I'm like, I'm hoping it's the dolls. And
Yeah.
she's like, well, let me check. And then, so she had the dolls in her hand, and she didn't even want me to touch the door to her apartment. Like
That's fair.
nothing about me.
Yeah.
And she's like, it's you. She's like, were you just investigating? I'm like, yeah, I was. And she was, and the lady was like, well, whatever you investigated followed you, and they were really upset that you were there,
Hmm.
and they want to return the favor and make your life like crappy since
Mhm.
you did that for the hour you were there, allegedly. Um,
Yeah.
and so that kind of that creeped me out, because when I did get home, I was feeling a little off, a little bit cranky and whatnot. Um,
Mhm.
and then me and 2 of my other buddies were hanging out at my place, and then we went over back to her place, and she's like, I'm gonna remove the entity from you. And it was
Mhm.
the weirdest thing to, because I didn't, I was like, whatever at first, right? Because I'm very skeptical still. Like I
Yeah.
believe, but I'm skeptical, and this is just me being honest.
Mhm.
I need to see it to believe it right in front of me. You guys know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so then she put her hand on like my right shoulder, and it was like burning.
Hmm.
I'm like, that's not okay.
No.
And then she had to let go, and she's like, oh, this isn't, this is this is, then she said something about how it used to be like a Mennonite person, and I don't even want to mention any of that because it just puts it out there.
Yeah.
But then about an hour later, she was like, she had I don't know what kind of Wicca stuff that was. There was like a spray, there was some salt and stuff,
Yeah.
and did all this stuff you see in the movies. I'm like, holy crap, this is happening to me here right now. And
Yeah.
again, being a skeptic, I'm like, okay, I'm here for the ride.
Mhm.
But after it was done, my 2 buddies were looking too, because they were like, bro, I didn't think that would happen, that go down like that.
Mhm.
And then I guess she finally, I guess, removed it from me, and then I felt like a really painful thing in my shoulder,
Yeah.
and then I felt like relief, like I had like 1,000 pounds taken off my my shoulders.
But when she was touching your shoulder, like,
Mhm.
was energy coming in from her into your shoulder, or was the entity like attached onto the shoulder? Like, I'm just trying to have a better understanding. Did she say?
I don't recall that. She just she did what she
Okay.
needed to do. It took like an hour, and
Yeah.
that's a cautionary tale of doing paranormal investigating. It's all fun and games, but
Mhm.
again, there's no caller ID in who we're talking to.
No.
So people laugh and say, "Oh, that's not real. That stuff can't happen." Because I was that guy. I would laugh. I would joke around. But
Yeah.
I've had things I've experienced over the years that made me be like, "Oh God, uh-oh." And this
Mhm.
one almost made me throw in the paranormal towel. I'd really think about things because
Okay.
it's dumb. have things like that happen to you. So, being at the 108 Mile Ranch this past weekend,
Mhm.
I was so hesitant to go into that post house.
Yeah.
And then like Jeff, he goes, because he asked a question. I even said, I'm like, bro, don't even mention any of that stuff.
Mm-mm.
I just want to know about Agnes and who else is there. And he threw it out there. He's like, is the entity that followed Mike home here? And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, thankfully.
Why is he? Yeah, he was doing an invocation by asking for it. That's a really silly thing to do.
He slipped up, but
Okay.
nothing was there. Thank the gods, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
um, yeah, that'd be one of the most terrifying things to ever happen there, if not the most. Dave, you have a few cool stories of the place.
I'm retired from there, so no, I put
Okay,
those stories away.
they're away.
Okay. What about elsewhere, Dave? Like other kind of crazy, paranormally ghosty kind of things?
I would say that and this actually ties to Flight 21.
Mm.
Is underneath, and I got a little excited yet freaked out at the same time. At the old RCMP depot, in the basement, in the cellar, because up here they didn't have enough room in the morgue at the hospital and at the funeral home for the bodies of the victims of Flight 21. They put them in the cellar of the RCMP depot. And we went down there and investigated, and that's where the jail cells used to be as well.
Hmm.
So when you went down the stairs, there was like a walled square metal door that sealed the cellar. But if you went to
Mhm.
your right and into that area, that's where all the jail cells were. So we're standing by the door, and I open the door, and all of a sudden, about 20 seconds later, I hear this giant whoa right in my face. Like, and I could feel the air coming into my face.
Mhm.
And I'm like, what the hell was that? So I bring my flashlight up because it was coming from the right. And I bring
Mhm.
my flashlight up to look inside. And there is a cement brick wall on the right hand side where that came from. And of course,
Hmm.
there's nothing in there. So that was a little trippy, that
Yeah.
I don't know what that was, if that was a victim, if that was a former prisoner there. I really don't know what that was, but I found that one quite intimidating.
Yeah, I mean, that's really unexpected. Was it like a dog kind of going woof or like a
No,
man or
it was a total paranormal experience that you expect a ghost to jump out at you and go
okay.
woo to kind of spook you,
Yeah.
and that's what kind of happened.
What kind of energy did it have? Was it like, did it feel intimidating? Did it feel like playful? Did it feel like it wanted you out of space? Like, what'd you sense around
Well,
it?
I mean, I did what any man would do. I jumped back and screamed, right? You know me.
That's fair.
And
Yeah.
once I kind of caught my breath and was like, oh, okay, there's nothing here. I was
Yeah.
actually debating going in there.
Did you?
I was debating to actually go in there, but
Okay.
the people I was investigating with, they're like, no, let's not. This place is creepy. Well, that's why we're here,
100%.
Hey,
right?
Dave, we're gonna quote this whole conversation in the
Yeah,
summer.
yeah. Look,
Yeah.
everybody knows. I mean, you two especially know. I'm like Shaggy from the Scooby Doo cartoons,
You're
right?
gonna survive while the rest of us die.
I'm
Yeah,
the
I am
cautionary
willing to say
tale.
I have no problem sacrificing both of you for me. I don't.
We know.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I'm
that's
getting
fair.
braver though.
You're
Going
doing
out to
great.
Flight 21 with Tim, it's making me braver.
That's fair. Very, very fair.
Until
I don't know,
something
like,
happens where I will be, soiling my pants, and then I'm saying I'm not staying the night there. I'm never going back there. Then you guys drag me there again.
You get the
yeah.
full experience of what
Mhm.
lurks in the night there.
Well, let's talk about that for a minute. Why the heck do you guys want to stay the night there again?
Because we've seen ETs there and Bigfoot there and a ton of ghosts coming around. I mean, everything we're wanting to get footage of and verification of shows up. Seems like the most logical thing to do to add validity to the things that we talk about.
Dave, we need the full experience to get the shot, to get the product.
The one thing about full experience, though, doesn't include dying.
We haven't died yet.
Every good found footage, they find the memory cards and our lives live on through the show. I'm good with that. Kind of. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Look, as much as I feel it would be a cool death, carrying my arm up to St. Peter's heavenly gates, okay, and when he says, "What happened to you?" tell him Sasquatch ripped my arm off and beat me to death with it. Okay, because not everybody gets that experience, so I think that would be kind of cool. It's different. You know, I like to be different a little bit sometimes. I'm not looking forward to that, okay? I'm not. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen, and I say that in jest. But at what point, and I will ask you guys this on the record here, at what point does safety come into play?
When we see the Bigfoot literally chasing us out. And I'm like, okay, we know not to come back.
And then I'll be the guy that turns around and just be like, "No way," and then I'm gone. Asking for the proof, and it's running at me.
Not if you're sharing a truck with me. I'll be dragging you into the truck.
Let's go, Dave.
The hard part, in a day or two, we're going to put up Tim and I are going to put our video up of our first, I'm going to call it an investigation. But what we did on that first video is I took Tim on a tour. We started filming along the trail in, and then we filmed going into the gully, then up into the crash site area in the turnaround there, our base camp area.
Yeah.
And from there, I was showing him kind of all the hot spots because I want our listeners, whether they're on radio or YouTube or any social media or podcast network, I want you to be able to go to our YouTube channel. You've heard us talk about this story enough, okay? But I want you to see it. So that's why we filmed it. It's literally, Tim is working on it as we speak right now during the show, and it is going to be up there for people to get a good view of it all. And you know, I guess what concerns me about Flight 21 is we've had the good in the gifting and the trading, but we've also had the bad there. And I know that's the facts of life, okay? Because you take the good, you take the bad, you take the both there, you have the facts of life. Who remembers that? See, Tim just messaged in the chat room. Right now, he's editing. Right there.
Nice.
But I would say part of my fear of the location is the not knowing of what to expect up there. That's what scares me. That's what makes me a little bit paranoid about taking chances up there. And I know I'm safe. I know I'm safe with you guys. I know I'm safe if we're up there with people having pointy sticks to poke the animals just in case. But there's that little bit of hesitation that just kind of says, what if? What if?
But I mean, Dave, if you're looking at stuff like that, saying what if and being concerned about the fear aspect of it, I mean, we could have ETs show up at our homes or, at the grocery store or literally anywhere when it comes to stuff like that. Ghosts are found everywhere on this planet. It doesn't matter what location, or you could type in like 7-Eleven and haunted, something will show up on Google. You'll type in hotel and haunted, thousands of things showing up. So, I mean, yeah, it is a very high activity area, but unless we have something like a dog man howling, threatening to come into our camp and coming up close and snarling in an attack kind of position, I think we're okay. Because even last year when the beings were asking us to leave the area, they were very respectful about it. They still allowed us to pack everything and to collect our things. They didn't destroy anything.
I will tell you this: the the
Mm.
the one that came really close on the trail into the crash site.
Yeah.
One of the things Tim and I did do is we went searching for the trail, how it got in there.
Hmm.
And there is only one trail in that direction.
Yeah.
And it is at the far end by the crash debris, way
Yeah.
off in the back.
Hmm.
So I'm now wondering if another one came in to get into that area, because there's no way it could have semicircled.
Okay. I mean, it could very well have. I mean, we don't know the lifestyle patterns and behavioral patterns of half the beings that we've had experiences with. There's not really any books about that or ways of getting information outside of investigating, outside of going into their territories. It's like we're the scientists looking at getting information about gorillas from 100 and something years ago, where it was speculated that they didn't exist because most people had not seen them. We're doing the same thing, but with these other creatures that can kind of travel interdimensionally. So it's kind of fun to be brave and scared and to push our limits, right?
Oh, it's a rush. It's a complete rush. I'm not going to
Yeah,
lie.
I
You know,
thrive
I
on
want
that
to
what
see.
if.
me too.
I still want to see Merle do his famous sprint out of there. I do.
I'm retired from that. I'm not built to sprint. Um,
Yeah,
but I've really worked on myself with the whole getting tuck tail and run routine. That's what I
yeah,
call it. And there's no point, because you got to remind yourself you're there to obtain evidence. You're there to tell the story. Now, if you run away, you just failed.
I agree.
And we don't want to fail. We're all winners right here, Dave. We're all winners.
Dave, how many times have you said on the air that you wish the day that you and I met and we were in the woods and we saw those beings, that you could go back in time because you would walk right up to them and go shake their hand?
Oh, I do. I want that, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to be brave enough to do that.
Fair. But I mean, if I end up like grabbing you by the arm because we see ET showing up in the summer, and I'm like, hey, let's walk over and go see them, you've got to do small experiences building up to that to force yourself past your current fear threshold to be able to get to that point that you have better control over it.
I will do that.
Okay.
This time, I promise you, and I'm promising the world because I'm speaking this out in public,
Yeah.
that when, not if, because I know you,
Hmm.
when we go back to Flight 21
Yeah.
and the aliens arrive, if you want to walk up to them, I will go with you. You may have to
Okay.
hold my hand,
That's
but
fine.
I will go with you.
Yeah. I'm going to hold you to that, even if it's a reptilian.
You. I will go. Okay. I will go. And if I have a heart attack, Merle, just grab my CPAP and put it on my nose.
We'll do chest compressions, don't worry.
Yeah, we got
Yeah,
you.
good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah,
Someone will have
that's
Staying
okay.
Alive on their phone or something, so we'll just know the rhythm. Or
Yeah.
just ask the aliens to fix it, one of the two.
I got some Bee
Yeah,
Gees
just
on my
ask
phone.
them to
Yeah.
kickstart the heart. Play a little Motley Crue in there and make it happen. But no, I'll do that. I will
Okay.
do that. I mean, look, here's the thing that a lot of people listening to this who may believe in these topics don't know.
Yeah.
It's very easy to talk a good game when you are not there
Yeah.
experiencing it. When you get there and experience it, like people are always like, hey, you should have your camera up, or hey, why didn't you film that?
You don't
When
think
your
to?
brain is can't comprehend what your eyes are seeing and it's
Hmm.
right in front of you, much like Merle with the UFO, okay, and the
Yeah.
alien, and Merle with the Sasquatch encounters, he doesn't believe in that stuff. Yet here we
Well,
are.
after
Here
the
we are.
foot,
Hold that thought. Hold that thought. Why Merle doesn't believe in Sasquatch and
Here we go.
UFOs, even though he's experienced them. Next on the Paranormal Road Trippers and goes to the Great White North with our special guest, Samantha Moen. Next. This is Spaced Out Radio with host Dave Scott. All right, we're clear.
So we can swear right now, right? We can swear because
Yeah,
it's on
don't,
radio, right?
Yeah, I'd prefer not. I'm trying
I try
not to swear during the
I'm trying
breaks.
not to.
You have
But we got about 6
perplexed.
minutes. We're going to turn it over to Dirty Filth here for a couple minutes, guys.
Sounds good.
There you go, Dirty. Tell us about your
Oh.
new show, Dirty Filth.
Beautiful.
Yes, I will be having a show Saturdays at 2 p.m. Pacific for about an hour, or until however long it takes for me to draw a cartoon and color it up and paint it, or unless the cats topple the bookshelf over on me, and then the stream will just go until Mrs. Filth comes and finds my corpse squished under a bookshelf.
Aw.
So here's Mothman at home watching sports and eating his pizza because he likes pizza. And I figured he needs a cat. So we got him a little cat. Let's see.
That's cute.
There's his little cat. You know what? I really have to get a bigger book to stick this on, balance it correctly. But yes. You were talking about Dogman earlier. Do you want to see a Dogman?
Definitely.
Okay, 1 second here. I gotta move this up a little bit. Oh, bloody hells.
Oopsie.
Sorry, Dave, I swore. This is oops, that's the old paint tray.
Oh,
Here's a Dogman.
cute. I
See,
love
get a little
it.
Dogman tail. Yes.
Oh.
My friend Fox Vegas and I have been making plushies out of my cartoons. And this is the template for the Dogman so far.
I love it. It's adorable.
She's pretty good at what she does. I also have Fabrice, the alien, as well.
Ooh, let's see. Cute. Look at those eyes.
He's the oldest of the aliens, and he takes care of the boys, Carl, Stanton, and Alan.
Nice.
I had originally made, well, I drew the cartoons, and Fox made the plushies. We made 3 of them originally, and I sold them all on the first day we brought them out. And
Yeah.
so one lives in sunny Glendale, Arizona, Arizona, and the other 2 live in Canada.
Oh, I love that. You know,
So
Dirty Phil, I bet at UFO conferences, those stuffed animals and drawings would be such a hot commodity.
I may have to go to Vegas with like a suitcase full of them
I think so.
for the
Definitely
next show.
worth it. Yeah.
They
Is that what your
they-
cat looks like?
no, I don't even know where the cats are. They've abandoned me. I think. Well, I know the gargoyle is still sleeping on the bookshelf, and the gremlin is passed out with Mrs. Filth, and Whiskey's probably in the basement being a grumpy old bag that she is.
Aw.
I love my Whiskey, and I don't have Blob anymore.
Oh,
Saddening.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Still kills me all the time when I think about it. Anyway,
Yeah,
but
it's a really cool drawing.
yes, I appreciate it. And I did
Mhm.
take this one out here. Just gonna dig it out of the pile.
Sure.
Here's a Bigfoot eating stolen Saskatoon berry pie.
Nice. That's really cute.
I also have a picture of Dave and Merle in here too.
Yeah, let's see it.
Uh-oh.
There's Dave and Merle.
Oh, there it is.
You
Dave's
captured their essence.
This place is spooky. I wish I was in the woods with my Bigfoot friends. Merle saying, "It's okay, Dave. I have my ghost box. We'll be okay."
That is really cute.
And then here's Carl, Stanton, and Alan. Let me just move that
Aw.
down a little bit more.
I love that.
There we go. It's like, you sure Fabrice let you drive his UFO? And of course, Carl's panicking because he borrowed it without asking.
I believe it.
And
That
so
is
their adventures continue.
Ooh. That's
Carl,
not
I
good.
told you, left at Albuquerque. He's going, oh man, Fabrice is going to be so pissed. And Stanton's back is itchy because he got himself a tattoo.
That's fair. That's really cute.
And there's old man Fabrice on his phone. They crashed my UFO where?
Uh-oh. I like the mom picture. It's cute.
Yeah, I gotta have mom on there.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Blue Cruz, how you doing? Good to have you here.
Very cool.
Filthy, I'm excited for your show, buddy. Give it a plug once again.
Me too. Saturdays at 2 p.m. Pacific time. I'll be drawing a cartoon for about an hour on Spaced Out Radio. And if you want, you can purchase the cartoon afterwards. And there's also probably about 1 million separate drawings. If you ever want to purchase them, you can get in touch with me. But I'll talk about that on the show when we get to that point.
You got that right. Appreciate you, buddy.
Have a good night, everybody. Bye, Merle, wherever you are.
Everybody.
Bye, Phil.
Main man Merle there. You can get your Merle Hendry shirt. Say his name, Merle, on our store right now. Brand new today. New Merle gear on spacedoutradio.com/shop. So make sure you check it on out.
I still want to know this cognitive dissonance you've got going on.
Oh, Sam and Dave are going to let me have it. It's the roasting hour with Dave Scott.
Yeah,
and
we're going to
Samantha
roast
Bowen.
Merle here. Hey, we're only at one super chat tonight. That's Kitty Cattywhack. Thank you very much for that wonderful support. We got audience questions next as well. Here we go. All right, here is hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Goes to the Great White North with our main man Merle and our special guest Samantha Mowat. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you very much for joining us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hi to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the XOR Space Travelers Club. Hylogenesis. Hylogenesis is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as a clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our main paranormal man, Merle, is here with special guest Samantha Mowat, goes to the Great White North, and this time around, we're going to find out why Merle doesn't believe in Sasquatch, UFOs, or aliens, yet he's had encounters with all three. Merle, what's going on? Why can't you just accept that you got aliens, you got Bigfoot, you got UFOs?
Sam looks like she's going to put her fist through the screen at me. No, it's not that dude, I believe it. You got me sizzling here. Well, be careful what I say. We're live to millions of people. I need to have a handshake with an alien. I really want to see a craft. We've talked about this a lot. I want to see it without any discrepancy, if that makes sense.
So you would like to, let's say this summer or something like that, go camping in the woods, invite them into our space, and in the middle of the day type thing, walk up and see them as clearly as you see us. Would that
Correct.
work?
That's what Dave and I will do. We'll waddle up to those little alien folk and give them a high five. But no, in all honesty, I maybe it's my job, but I need to see the evidence in front of me to be able to be like, yes.
Yeah.
The Sasquatch, yes, I think he's real, but I would debate on the interdimensional part.
Okay.
Because the things we saw up there, those handful of times, Dave, I can't explain, and we've talked about that. And it took me a long time to even admit that stuff on the radio, like talking about that, because I keep a lot of those stories kind of private. But so Sasquatch, yes, I think he's out there somewhere. But the aliens, it's not that I don't believe. Like I drove through Area 51 and all that a couple of weeks
Yeah.
ago, and I even said to Dave when I got into Vegas, I'm like, I'm a little more open than I used to be.
That's good.
Just from all the things we saw, talking that, like, because I did a photo op at the little alien, because you drive right by it going to Vegas. And as some
Mhm.
people just asked where we were from, and then I just said, I'm like, so you believe in aliens or what? And just being smart.
Yeah.
And they had some pretty interesting stories, but like from all the people Dave has on Spaced Out Radio talking to you, because I trust you, and stuff like that, I'm like, well, there's got to be something up there. There has to be.
Mhm.
Because we did see some weird stuff that I can't explain when we were on how
Yeah.
many of us were there? 6 of us on our little journey. But in order to say 100% that there's an alien or an ET in front of me, I would want to see it or experience it.
Okay.
You did.
There's
You know what?
discrepancy. There's
Why
discrepancy.
don't
I mean like slam dunk,
yeah.
all net.
We'll just ask them to show up again and for us to be able to get them on film so that even if you don't believe your eyes, you can still see it over and over again. Good.
Yeah. Because like
Yeah.
I wouldn't debate that. I think there's stuff out there. There's 100%,
Yeah.
and like talking to Jim Goodall and all of the usual suspects in Vegas or
Mhm.
in chat. They're all great people and they have great experiences. I guess maybe I
Mhm.
just feel left out, Dave. I haven't had mine yet like that.
But you saw an alien in 2023.
But Dave, look at even how, not to throw Tim under the bus, but look at how Tim felt when he had that happen. The layers of, world shaking, cognitive dissonance, and like, holy flying turtles, what have I seen? How is this shaking up my reality? A lot of people will have experiences and then suppress them for years and they start haunting them back in their dreams and they eventually come to terms with it and find it to be something that fascinates them. Maybe Merle's just not ready for it yet.
I think that's what it comes down to for me. I like I said a couple times here.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
believe people's stories. I
Yeah.
want the slam dunk all net to see
Okay.
them.
I
Does the thought of aliens scare me? Absolutely.
oh,
Have you seen Signs? That's what I
opposite
think it would be
brain.
like. So
No.
maybe Signs made me a little. I'm more scared of aliens than I am of ghosts.
Yeah, but aliens can hurt you a lot more than ghosts can. So,
Fair,
with good reason, that's just being intelligent. But may I ask what it is about signs that made you so nervous?
because they wanted to hurt the people. They were just
Yeah,
scary. I was little when I watched it.
we were teenagers. Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense. But was it the cloaking that made you nervous, where they could like blend into their surroundings so you might not necessarily know when they're around you?
No, it was just more the aggression. Like I like the scene I remember. Like there's a couple scenes like when you see the alien's reflection in the TV walking by,
Yeah,
and then because that's some ghost stuff right there. That's what ghosts do.
yeah, they
And then
do.
when the family they lock themselves in the basement.
Yes.
That was like, oh god, if that happened, because like, can you shoot an alien or do they?
Yes.
Okay, there you go. There's my answer. Um, I guess it's because they scare me because I can't control it. Is what
Well, that's
I'm a walking contradiction, as Green Day says. So
I actually think your approach to it is a very intelligent one and incredibly logic based. You're looking at this as this is something that, for argument's sake, if it's real, could pose a very real danger to you, and you
mhm.
don't know how to protect yourself or navigate that situation. So it's easier to not necessarily acknowledge it fully because then it gives you a sense of security.
Fair, fair. No, that's a good assessment. Um, like I've really tried like being on Dave's patio or even when I've gone camping and stuff.
Yeah.
I'll just look up in the sky. I'm like, come on, let's see it. But I guess I just haven't had my time. We had our pixelated incident in 2023, but there's room for debate. I don't want to debate it. I just want it to be a wow moment.
Well, next time I will drag you and Dave over.
Okay, that works.
And we'll keep the camera guys wherever the hell they're at. And they can just film us going over.
What do you think of that, Dave?
Samantha's right. She's always right. I just don't even bother arguing.
I'm not always right.
You're always right. You're always right. Right? But
with some things.
The idea of going back, Samantha, a lot of people will ask, how do you know aliens are going to be there? How do you know that these situations are going to happen? How do you have that confidence that you're going to go into the forest, whether it's Flight 21 or anywhere else, and all of a sudden, boom, there's extraterrestrials hanging out there?
Dave, I've had hundreds of encounters with them, if not thousands of encounters, and every time I go camping, they bug me. And I mean that very respectfully, but it doesn't matter if I'm camping with my family in Jasper and getting taken out of the tent, and then the next morning noticing that there are some footprints from grays around the tent, or if I'm, camping on Vancouver Island and then having the grays and the small whites opening up the tent and coming in through the door, because realistically, they love when people are camping because it's easier for them to have interactions with us. And if you're someone like me who has contact from birth until death, they like opportunities where they can interact with you without the other problems around technology, other people, stuff like that. Dave, I told you for years, and I mean years, come camping with me. You want to see beings again? Come camping. You want to have weird shit happen? Let's go camping. Look what happened the last couple of years we've gone to camping. Weird shit happens.
That's fair.
So if you guys want some really crazy shit, pardon me, Shiza, lo siento, then 11640, sorry Dave, then let's go towards even more remote places, like towards the Yukon or Alaska, where there's no one around for hours. We'll get some really crazy stuff then.
I guess like with alien stuff,
Yeah.
like I feel I can call in a ghost, I can call in a spirit, I can communicate with them.
Yeah.
But then when I've tried that, like with aliens, like I've done it with you two, and I've done it with my friends in Spokane because they communicate.
Of course.
I get skunked, so I'm wondering if I'm doing something wrong, or if it's just not in my blood, so to speak.
Well, do you remember earlier when we were discussing how Dave was trying to contact Agnes McVy and he was not as capable, yet when you try, you seem to have much better luck with having her and other beings come forward?
I'm the Dave in this moment.
You are the Dave in this moment.
Oh, that's what it feels like. Okay, I get it now.
But
it makes sense.
Everyone has things that they're better attuned to. Like Dave has a much better idea about Sasquatch and stuff like that than I do. He's had more interactions with them and experiences where they've come near him than I've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, everyone's gifted when it comes to understanding certain elements of this.
And that's a thought I've had a lot of, like in the past while, especially because like I've been on Spaced Out Radio since 2015. And Dave and I have interviewed so many people together, and just hearing everyone's different experiences and stories.
Yeah.
It just it's so interesting.
It is.
And I've tried other people's techniques with that stuff, but yeah, no, it's what do you think, Dave, with all that? Do you think some people are more hardwired to experience certain things?
I think so. I mean, Samantha's a great example of that.
With ETs and stuff like that, that is more my niche because that is what I have the most experience with. but it's just a small branch of psychic abilities.
I think that the phenomena only allows you what you want to have. It will push your limits. It will
Yeah.
try to get you to experience other events, other part of the phenomena. But if you're not
Hmm.
accepting of it or you don't want to believe it, I don't think it's going to continue to push for something that it wants you or that you don't want to do because it's your free will. That being
Yeah.
said, someone like me, Samantha, you and I talked about it, and when I was
Hmm.
working with Pascal before I met you,
Yeah.
it was something where the phenomena was fast tracking me, where it was
Hmm.
giving me a little bit of everything that I wanted.
Hmm.
I didn't know I wanted it, but apparently I
Hmm.
did.
And Dave, just as you turned on those capabilities in the past, you can access them just as easily now. And that could be said for anybody who has an interest in this stuff. Even, Merle, you with ETs, if you want to have interactions with them, just keep focusing on that as well. And when they end up coming this summer, you will end up having more interactions with them on your own, not even being near us or in the woods.
I think
And
Merle's afraid to be taken.
It's not that bad. They put you back.
okay, well,
Your kids being taken might scare the out of you.
I mean, if I can sneak in a body camera and get the shot while I'm being taken, I'm all for it. But
We used to
I'm
have
joking.
cameras, and
Yeah.
I kid you not, they will disarm them. Tech will be absolutely useless. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they scan for it, but they do. And it's the most frustrating thing in the world.
Fair. And then now that I think about it, like the last time we were at Flight 21, like with
Yeah,
Richie and
yeah.
Mark,
Hmm.
there's a lot of, I guess I couldn't explain the energy that was happening there because it was pretty heavy.
Hmm.
You could cut it with a knife, like it was that thick.
Yeah.
Um, so maybe that could have been a recipe of various types of things going on all. And that's another question because Dave brought it up earlier about, do we think everything's connected or are things
Hmm.
separate? I'm a separate guy. And
Yeah.
but you think all of those types of things can communicate together, be it a ghost and alien to a Sasquatch,
Hmm.
vice versa?
I think, yeah, they can communicate just as easily as we can. And I think there's also variations. I think certain species of ET have an easier time interacting with certain species of, cryptid or deceased people, even. Now,
Interesting.
the reason why I think that is sometimes in among craft, I will see souls who are already deceased who are hanging out with ETs, and sometimes I will see souls that are going to be born that are also hanging out on craft. And that tells me things like the mantises and the greys have an easier time interacting with those souls, which tells me, okay, if they can interact with soul on craft, they probably have an easy time coming down to Flight 21 and interacting with the deceased people that are there. So that's part of where my perception of that being interconnected comes into play. Whereas I know the reptilians would have an easier time interacting with the Sasquatch beings because I've seen them together in different encounters. So I think there's something to it, Merle, although I don't think I understand what it is exactly.
And Dave, what do you think with all that?
About the phenomena being connected?
Yeah, we haven't really
Without
talked
sound
about it.
without sounding insultive, I've interviewed so many people now that I am
Yeah.
fully convinced that it is all one.
Hmm.
I mean, Flight 21 is probably the best example of that because you are having everything happen there. There's ghostly activity, there's UFO
Hmm.
activity, there's cryptid activity,
Hmm.
and there's not a lot of places where you could get the big trifecta all
Hmm.
in one area and in such a small claustrophobic area,
Yeah.
right? And that is why, I look at people like idols of mine in this field and like a good friend of yours too, Merle, and David Weatherly. He's the one who really started talking to me about it, about the phenomena being all connected as one.
Hmm.
And I really do believe that they do operate on some sort of similar vibration or similar path that, you know, that are going to take you down different roads
Mhm.
along the same path. And the big
Yeah.
thing about that, Merle, I think you're a little blinded on, and I mean that with all respect. I think you're a little blinded because you love investigating the paranormal so much. It is your thing, and you are damn good at it.
Mhm.
And that's why I have no problem saying I think you're one of the best, if not the best, paranormal investigator in Canada.
Mhm.
But that being said, I think it blinds you to other experiences that you have experienced because in the paranormal you've now figured out after 10 years that you know your control status, whereas with cryptids and UFOs you don't have
Mhm.
control, and I think
Yeah.
that bugs you. That's just my synopsis.
I
I
think you're right.
100% bugs me not being in control of my surroundings. Um, and that could be it too. I probably don't allow myself to. I never let my guard down. I never, especially if it's in my immediate surroundings. I'm always on alert. I'm always looking. It's like if I go to a restaurant, I need to
Mhm.
sit facing the door. I'm
Yes.
always on alert. Um, and I guess I use that when I'm doing my paranormal investigating as well. It seems good like okay with the ghost stuff,
Mhm.
but like when it comes to the stuff more that you guys are advanced at, like the ETs and the
Yeah.
cryptids. But no, Dave, like with the Sasquatch stuff, you and I have had some pretty
Yeah.
skookum encounters in the bush, and that we can't explain, that had all the tells of the Sasquatch. Um,
Mhm.
so I have no problem saying that I believe in that. It's the aliens. They're there. I just want them to smack me in the face, so to speak, right? It's be like, see, I'm here.
But Merle, you know how when you're investigating, how you can sense, like when you go into a space, you can tell, okay, there's a being here and it's a deceased person, and it kind of has that sensation of like, it's a very distinct kind of feeling, and you can tell fairly quickly if they're like kind and benevolent or if they're mean and like out to push people out of their space. How you get that intuitive sense right away, that gut feeling, that like cognizant knowing.
Mhm.
It's you also, when you start to become more aware of the different energies, I think that's one area where Dave is more, I guess, knowledgeable, is he recognizes, okay, I can feel the deceased person here. He knows what like ETs have a feeling of like, and same with like the cryptids. He's taken the time to kind of sense what the vibrations feel like, and so he's more quick to recognize, hey, it's Sasquatch energy. Like last summer when Dave was like having a smoke and we're at front of the Jeep and it's like the sun's like golden hour type thing. He's like, hey, come on over here, come with me. And he's like, do you feel that? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, it's Sasquatch. I'm like, yeah, it's Sasquatch. I totally agree with you because it was so distinctly Sasquatch energy and had that strong earth-based essence. But do you remember the first year that we did filming? And
Yes.
I think it was around the time you're like, nope, nope, nope. And do you remember when you came over towards where Dave and I were, and Richie's like, somewhere, I'm like, oh, why is the camera not working? What's going on, Tanner? What's with the battery? I'm like, do you guys feel that? How the air felt so alive and electrically charged? And I'm like, that's craft. We've got an ET nearby. And how, because I'm more accustomed to that vibration, I was more quickly able to recognize it. If you start to pay more attention in your day-to-day life and you're investigating of what sensations you're having, you'll notice the subtle energy differences, and you'll start to be able to better, I guess, accept that there's more out there outside of just the paranormal ghosty aspect, and they'll have more interactions with you
For sure.
because
And
of it.
2023 is actually a bit of a eye opener for me too when we were out there,
Yeah.
because, like,
Hold that thought.
respectfully,
Hold that thought.
oh
We're
yeah,
going to go to break here. We're going to continue on with the conversation. Audience questions next as well on Spaced Out Radio.
listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
I want you to finish that thought when we go back on the air.
Hey, Merle, what kind of gimbal do you have?
I have multiple. Are you talking for your iPhone or like a camera?
I'm thinking for my iPhone.
Nice.
DJI Osmo 4. I'll send you the link.
I'm looking on Amazon right now.
Which iPhone do you have?
I got a 13 Plus.
Yeah, that'll work.
I refuse to upgrade because my bill is going to go up like another $40.
Classic. But no, I use the Osmo 4. OSMO 4. It's fantastic. You'll have creamy footage. I use all the videos we do, all of our B-roll and outside B-roll is shot on an iPhone.
Nice.
Mostly.
Let me see here. There's a 6. There's a 7.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not seeing a 4. There's a 3.
Sorry.
What do we got here? Osmo, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, there's the 7.
We'll get
DJI
it.
Osmo Mobile 7 gimbal stabilizer
Yeah.
for iPhone, Android, built-in tripod, ultralight, comfortable grip, 3-axis phone gimbal, active
Nice.
track 7.0, shot guides, one-tap edit, 10-hour use.
Yep.
What'd you pay for yours?
Oh God, I got that years ago. Probably like 139. Not
This one's on
expensive.
for 129.
Yeah, that's about right.
I'm gonna get it then.
Merle,
Yes.
if you're dead serious that you want ETs to come on up and come fully in our space, I will ask them to do that.
Yep. That's what I want.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'll ask a few different species and hopefully they're willing to be accommodating for us that way.
So you can, I want to high five. No, I'm kidding. I would just like to experience that. That'd be kind of wild.
Okay. I'll ask. They should be willing to. It'll most likely be the grays. So they come the most when we're camping.
Are they the friendly ones?
Some. They're about as diverse as humans, but most ones I interact with are pretty nice. They're not gonna hurt you.
Which are
At
the
least
ones
not
you want to look
me.
out for?
If you see grays that have like really pointy fingers that look like chicken claws, those ones aren't friendly typically. So those ones I find are a little more intimidating. I haven't had a lot of good experience with yellow reptilians. Those ones I find to be very instinct-based and predatory. Mantises, for the most part, have been good. Andromedans, Arcturians, or whitey kind of grays, typically good. Brownie grays that Dave and I saw, very nice. Most of the ones that come around are pretty nice, just a few and far between that aren't.
Do they ever talk to you? Like how we're talking? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Quite
English?
often. Telepathic. It comes
That's
across in
interesting.
English in your head, so you might have a headache or a nosebleed after, but nothing too crazy. But I'm dead serious. Like, if you want them to, I will ask. I will put a very large request out to them.
Put it
But
out
if
there.
you are afraid, I am not being an arrogant prick when I say stay by me and you'll be fine.
I'm not
So-
afraid.
Yeah, until she decides, hey, come with me. Let's walk down the path and go say hello to these guys. They're not going to hurt us.
Mm-hmm. You're still here? Just saying. So, no, but as long as I don't get the feeling from them like, oh, fuck, then we're fine. So,
Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, that's when the pointy sticks come out.
If you
No,
knew
I'm
how
kidding.
fast
I'm
the grays
kidding.
were, you would know that you are not likely to be able to shoot them. So,
Oh, I'm not. I'm just saying that out of jest. I would never do that.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know. I don't think they're gonna hurt us at all. So I wouldn't mind having a craft over top of our campsite though, and have it hang out there. That could be fun.
Big thank you to Kitty
It would be.
Caddywhack tonight for the lone super chat that we have. Oh, Dry Toast is kicked in
Yeah.
there too. I didn't see that one. But
Thank you.
thank you for the love. Don't forget, you can get your brand new MERLE shirt at spacedoutradio.com. It's
Great
not
shirt.
ugly. It's not ugly swag. So make sure you check it on out. And we're going to get going here in about 10 seconds.
Sorry, I'm so tired. Oh, we're good.
Second half of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. The puck is dropped. My name is Dave Scott. We're talking paranormal, supernatural with MERLE and Samantha Mowat. But first, before we bring these two awesome individuals in, remind you that you can check out our free archives on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot. Read the news wire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram, Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Here we go. MERLE is here. Samantha is here. Ghost of the Great White North continues on as we haul on down. We got these guys till the top of the hour. MERLE, you were finishing a story there.
I was going to say this. So 2023, I was a little harder on my views on certain things. And when we were in the forest, when like you and Sam were all like, do you see that? Do you see that? I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Because I'm there for the spirits, right? Because we're at the plane crash. And then I'm like, okay, I'm into this. And then like I was watching like Richie and Tanner going, what is happening here? And that's when I coined the term paranormal smorgasbord, because you never know what's going to pop out at you, right? But no, that was kind of an eye opener, and again, that experience made me question things a lot more, and become a lot more open to wanting the experience. Because I remember talking, it was you and Sam. I was really, I think, pushing you guys to help me have an experience with like extraterrestrials, but again, it'll come one of these days. It'll happen. But it's
All right,
interesting. That's what I was getting at.
Let's get to some audience questions because they are piling up. Jessica wants to know, MERLE, do you still have your dolls?
No, I don't. They're at somebody else's place. I have purged a handful of my haunted objects. There's just a lot of energies going on with bringing that stuff home. But no, they are safely at somebody's house, and they'll be going to somebody else's house shortly too. But they won't be here anytime soon. And if they are, they'll be in my garage or my shed.
All right, let's go to another question here. This one coming from Renee. Are cloaked Sasquatches ever mistaken for ghosts? Hold on, Sam. Go ahead.
It's all good. I wouldn't think so, and the reason behind it is if something is cloaked, typically you cannot see it. And in my experience with ghosts, although perhaps MERLE, you could chime in on this because you have more expertise in it than I do, ghosts tend, in my vision, look as though they're partially transparent, and I tend to see them in a bluish or grayish type of outline, whereas a Sasquatch has a very distinct non-human outline, so I wouldn't see them getting mistaken. How about you?
I'm not sure about cloaked like the cloaking Sasquatch,
Mm-hmm.
but if I think what a ghost would look like, they look kind of like smoke.
Yeah.
Unless you see like a full body apparition where they look like I'm looking at you or Dave, which is
Yeah.
creepy. but cool.
Okay, let's go over to Paramarv. Why do you think some aliens would be at Flight 21 site? Psychic trauma, maybe, or something else? You don't mean to imply they were involved in the crash, do you?
No, I wouldn't assume aliens are involved in the crash to any extent. I would assume that because there was a large amount of energy released when the plane was having problems and when it crashed to the ground and when people died, that would be more likely what drew the beings there, the energetic, I guess, abundance, trying to figure out what's happening there and keep getting drawn to it.
I would say,
Mm.
and this is something we are going to be put on, Tim and I are going to put in our videos.
Mhm.
There's a cause and an effect to the area. The
Yeah.
cause was the crash site, July 8th, 1965,
Mhm.
and the people losing their souls there. But the effect is what I'm trying to figure out. Why has that turned into a mini Skinwalker Ranch type place with all the phenomena that's happening? I think that is the interesting course of action. And like when I'm up there, I don't
Mhm.
even think about the crash. I don't think about, I mean, if a ghost wants to communicate, that's wonderful, but I'm not trying to solve the mystery of the craft or the crash. I'm trying to solve the
Mhm.
mystery of why is there so much high strangeness in this one pocket of the forest? I don't get it.
Dave, I wonder if there are some form of ley lines within the area amplifying the energy, causing for all this high strangeness to occur.
Yeah.
Could very well be. That's what attracts a lot of spiritual people to this area.
Mm-hmm.
And the rumor is that there's two rumors that if a tidal wave hit the west coast of British Columbia,
Yeah,
the waves would if it was big enough to wipe out, like take out
the West
the
Coast.
west coast,
Yeah.
the waves or the beach would start in the Caribou region,
Yeah.
the new beach. That's what they say.
Wow.
So there's that. And the other thing that is said about this area is that if there was ever some sort of nuclear holocaust, the Caribou region on up, because let's face it, big cities like Vancouver are going to be targets.
Yeah.
And there is, this is a safe place in case of a nuclear holocaust because the air will not filter up this high. All the radiation and everything will stay down below at sea level.
Yeah.
And we're far enough away from being affected by that.
But the ETs have said multiple times they're not going to let humans destroy the planet through doing that. So we don't need to be afraid.
Oh, I agree. I
Yeah.
fully agree with you. So it's just one of those things. So I think the ley lines probably have something to do with it. I don't know
Yeah.
what. Let's go to Derek. Samantha and Merle, what is your best methods of contacting entities, aliens, ghosts, etc.? Sam, let's start with you on that one.
Sure. If you are a normal person who does not have your psychic abilities attuned to the point that you are comfortable using them without devices, I recommend doing something such as astral projection or using tarot cards or pendulums to start your communication journey with these beings. Those would probably be the easiest ways to step forward. If you're wanting more in-depth contact that is more difficult for you to deny and more interactive, I would recommend learning how to astral project out of your body. There are free tutorials online or a book called Astral Dynamics to help you connect in.
For
How about
me,
you,
like
Merle?
with like ghosts or spirits,
Mhm.
learn about them before you even go talk to them. Like if you're going to a known haunt where there's said people that could have passed away or somebody's
Mhm.
house, learn about them, be respectful, and
Mhm.
have whomever runs the place, owns the place, introduce you to them. Because nobody likes a stranger coming in your house and talking to you
Mhm.
without permission, consent. And
I
um
agree. Mm.
and I find from experience where I
Mhm.
would go into locations ready to go and communicate with people and just walk in and be like, "What is your name?" and all that stuff. they just get mad at you and you don't get much interaction or evidence. But if you go in introducing yourself and talking to the spirits by name, because that's who they were and who they are, then you get more flies with honey doing that.
Yeah, you would.
And I would think putting out intent, putting out your positive intent, any sort of intent, and wanting to communicate with a ghost. And I think intent probably would also work with aliens in that, I would assume.
It does. Like if I'm going to sit down and talk to someone's guides, I will, I meditate first, I clear myself, I put energy protection around the room. I invite in, like I will say either out loud or in my head, I would like to talk to my angels and spirit guides, please. And then I would like to talk to whoever's like guides I'm wanting to interact with to gain information about the person or their future or even my own future. Having that protection in place and the intention, as you talked about, does go a long way, and same with manners. They do help immensely.
100%.
Yeah.
Let's continue on. Let's go to Jay. To Merle and Samantha, have you and your team ever investigated the open portal site on the Sunshine Coast near Vancouver?
Mm-mm.
I did not know there was such a place. I would like to know. I would like to hear
There
about
is
it.
apparently one in Clinton, south of us as well.
We should go check out both.
Yeah.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Let's go to Blue Cruise. Have you ever encountered spirits, Merle, or ghosts of a living human being?
Like a doppelganger?
I would assume the person who's living, their spirit comes out and chats with you. That'd be more like channeling, would it not?
I would think so.
I think I have never, but I think that could be something you could kind of look into or peel back of. Are you channeling the person's higher self? Are you channeling, if you believe in like past lives? Maybe you're talking to somebody from the 1500s, like a past life that was in somebody that they want to talk.
Maybe.
No, that's actually a good question to think about.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on to another question. Let's go to Marty.
Mm-hmm.
Samantha, can you tell us more about the tall whites? Are they very strict about social interactions, as per Charles Hall?
A lot of them have been. I've typically seen them on Craft Marty. And with my experience with the tall whites, they are very scientifically based. They aren't as friendly and open to hugs or just like random communication. Like with the Greys, I'm happy to go up and hug many of the Greys I've interacted with. But the tall whites aren't as receptive to stuff like that. They do seem to be more technologically advanced. But I do believe their idea of social interactions differ greatly than ours. We as humans are very touchy and very unpredictable, and we don't really have a lot of manners compared to a lot of ETs. If you look at how we are, as soon as I meet you, Marty, I go to shake your hand or I hug you, and that is not well received by beings like this, especially not when they live in such sterile environments and they see us as being, quite frankly, like a very dirty puppy coming into the house. It's mean, but it's reality. We do have a lot of pollutants on us and stuff like that. And so, in my experience with the tall whites, it's typically in more of a medical capacity where they will see me and they will avoid touching me, but they will do things above the body using either technology or energy to facilitate change. And they aren't very open to communicating, not in a friendly sense necessarily.
Thank you for that. Let's go to Creepypasta. Any advice how to approach aliens or Sasquatch communication? Also, what do you do to hold that fear factor back to be able to have that experience? Send them my way, please, if possible.
Well, Dave, do you want to cover the Sasquatch communication? Because you're definitely more
I can do that.
knowledgeable. For
Okay. So for Sasquatch, it's about trust. It's about doing things the same for a number of days or times you are out there in order for them to get used to your smell, your attitude, your vehicle, your voice, whether you sneeze or not, whether you're carrying pointy sticks or not, whether you are laughing, whether you are yelling. I don't think, and maybe it's just me, I don't think the wooing works where you yell out in the forest, woo, or anything like that. I think they work best in building communication off of trust. And the more they get to trust you, the more they are going to be willing to communicate, come up, and, they don't come up and show you all the time. Like, you'll be lucky to get 1-2 sightings, maybe, over the years.
Mhm.
And I really believe, though, that if you build trust, they will come into your area and you will recognize their energy when they are around because you'll pick up on it. It's much like when you pick up on, if you're walking down a sidewalk and you feel you're
Mhm.
being followed, or
Yeah.
you're driving in your vehicle and you feel that a vehicle is following you. There's something to that, to that feeling, and you get used to the feeling, that's for sure. So it really is that easy. How about for you, Sam, on the ETs?
I just wanted to quickly ask you something about the Sasquatch part. Many of my clients have mentioned ones who want to interact with Sasquatch, will leave jars of peanut butter, sometimes with carrots or celery, out for them. How do you feel about stuff like that as far as assisting the facilitation of interaction and communication between them and the Sasquatch people?
If we didn't live in an area where there was a ton of wild animals,
Yeah,
okay, I would hang bags of apples higher than a grizzly bear could stand,
yeah.
and I would use peanut butter. I'm still debating whether to bring peanut butter out to Flight 21.
Mhm.
I may bring a small jar
Yeah,
because unless an animal crushes it with their teeth,
yeah,
they're not going to be able to open it. You need opposable thumbs in order to take a jar lid off.
that's
Bears
fair.
don't have opposable thumbs. The one thing that a bear will do is it will crush it with its teeth because it's a plastic. So there is that possibility. But
Mm.
I was definitely thinking of bringing a peanut butter jar up there just to see what happens. I'm,
Yeah,
I'm not a big fan of feeding
no.
because if they considering we don't know what Sasquatch is, if they are a wild animal, they may expect food after that.
Hmm.
That's true.
Whereas
Very.
I prefer using objects like the coins or
Mhm.
marbles or toys that like bright colored toys. I prefer
Mhm.
using that to grab their attention rather than food, but I am tempted to try the peanut butter stuff. But I don't recommend and I don't agree with putting any sort of food in the vicinity of wild animals. Now, if I let's say had a 10-acre farm and I
Mhm.
knew these Sasquatch were coming up to my barn, would
Mhm.
I hang apples? Probably. Would
Yeah.
I leave a sandwich just to see what happens? Sure I would. But it would be
Mhm.
in more of a controlled environment rather than having to worry about the mountain lions and the different types of bears that we have in our area.
True. In relation to contact with extraterrestrials, it's quite simple. If you set up a regular meditation routine or a regular astral projection routine, where let's say every day you spend 20 minutes in a deeper meditation, you could do binaural beats, you could do sensory deprivation, but something where you have more of your mind being calmed down and you really get your energy more focused on just you and cleansing your aura and make it so your aura expands bigger than what it's normally operating at, you will naturally draw the attention of things like multidimensionals and extraterrestrials to you. And if you're astral projecting, when you travel out of the body each night, you will have better control over finding them, and they will also be more interested in you. So they will facilitate either psychic contact with you when you're meditating. You'll start feeling them come around. You might start seeing them in your third eye, or even hearing them starting to talk to you, versus the astral can actually be more of seeing them when you're in your dream time, which is just as valid of contact as physical. And as they do that, they will start to want to have physical interactions with you, because just like the Sasquatch are observing you for a long period of time before deliberately going out of their way to interact with you, so too do many of the extraterrestrial races do the same thing. Now, with that being said, if you are going in your day-to-day life, and let's say that you're out in the woods and you stumble across an ET, the first thing you're going to want to do is stop for a moment and just look. You don't want to walk up to it if you don't know who the heck it is, and you want to feel, what am I feeling in my body? Do I feel safe? Do I feel scared? Do I feel like it's friendly? And if you aren't sure, always have caution, because the last thing you want to do is, let's say you stumble across a gray and you see it 100 feet away from you and you notice that it's taking a plant sample of a seedling out of the ground and it's collecting it, it's putting it inside of a tube or something like that, and you walk up to it. If it doesn't know you and you catch it off guard, it might not react that nicely to you. And that's where you have to sense your vibration of what you're getting from that being. You are better off just stopping, looking at it, and telepathically in your head, looking at it and saying, hello. It will be aware of you. And so by doing that, if it wants to interact with you, it'll give you that sensation that's safe to approach, or it will start communicating with you and approaching you naturally.
We have 3.5 minutes to go. Let's get another question in here from you guys. Let's go to Valerie. Merle, do you find that you have more experiences when you let things come to you versus waiting and watching and nothing happens?
Do I find sometimes it depends on the location you're at. There's a lot of variables with that because some locations are so busy with ghost hunters and people like that or general public to where spirits will just evade you or stay away from you. But I find when you go to new places or places that have never been investigated or not many people go there, I find they're chomping at the bit to have a conversation with you to let you know that they're there. And it's 50-50. It literally all depends on where you're going and what you're trying to accomplish. I like to wait for them to come to me sometimes because you're investigating their place on their terms. I find the more you poke, the more you prod at them, the more negative your experience could be with a ghost or a spirit. But again, it you kind of just adapt on the fly with how you're doing it. So you can only wait so long before you're like bored, tired, or run out of ideas on how to communicate. So that being said, you do so when you wait, nothing happens. Is kind of plan B is to come to them, so to speak, ask them more interactive questions or turn up the style of how you're asking questions or your tone to get the attention.
Merle, when you're wanting to communicate with them and you're having trouble getting through, what tools do you use? Like, what's your preference? I'll use this, and if this doesn't work, we'll use that.
So I'll cater to their era. Like if I'm
Okay.
talking to spirits from the 1800s or 1900s, I will bring out devices that look like a candle, like an EMF detector. It's literally a wax candle.
Yeah.
And I find that older spirits are more inclined to communicate with that versus a device that looks like something out of a space movie or something more modern. And I also
Like
have
the
a
string of lights?
yeah, like
Okay.
like a string of lights, like
Yeah.
or I have like a bell, an old-fashioned looking bell that'll go off when a spirit is said to touch it, and so I'll play to the audience. It's important to know the era you're talking to, or learn words of that era, because in 2025 we talk a lot different than 1865,
Yeah.
and we look a lot different too,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a lot of variables on how to do the spirit communication.
Yeah.
We got about 30 seconds left, and I want to say thank you, Merle, and thank you, Samantha, for coming back on Spaced Out Radio. We really do appreciate both you, and I know we're going to be talking very soon about our next adventure up to Flight 21 and maybe elsewhere in the province. You can find Merle on YouTube, Paranormal Road Trippers, and look for the green logo with the vehicle driving through the bush. It is very cool. And Samantha Mowat.ca, MOWAT.ca. Coming up next, Swamp Dweller tells another creepy story. Then little Timmy James will be here with another UFO report.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
All right, we're clear.
Yay.
Way to
Awesome.
Merle yourself there, Merle.
Do that for you, man. Come on.
And for people who haven't seen Merle's latest T-shirt on our Spaced Out Radio store, let me just bring it up here quickly.
It looks good. I like it in blue.
It's titled "Say Merle's Name." Right there. Right there. Say Merle's name.
There it is.
There it is.
That's
Right
awesome.
there. You can go on the Spaced Out Radio store, get your Merle T-shirt right now, and check it on out.
It looks
Well,
good, right?
supplies
This
last.
is why I tell everybody we do not have ugly swag. Look how good that looks.
It does look really good. You should make it in kids' sizes too. That way people can get it for their kids or grandkids. Right?
All right, guys. We'll talk to you
All
soon.
right.
Go to bed.
Good night.
Night, guys.
Take
Night,
care.
night.
There goes Samantha. There goes Merle. We'll be right back, everybody. about a minute to go. Let's bring in little Timmy James. What's happening, buddy?
Just had to unmute myself. My brain's all scrambled. I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'd be good if the Oilers didn't forget to play hockey in the third period.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. Oh, well.
A big thank you tonight to Sweet Tony, Caged, Dry Toast, and Kitty Cattywhack for the wonderful super chats tonight. And don't forget you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag, people, including the brand new MERLE shirt that you can pick up today. Here we go. Here comes the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you very much for tuning us in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hey, I want to say hello to everyone tuned in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club, Hylogenesis. Hylogenesis is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Let's head to the swamp.
Hello and welcome to Spaced Out Radio's Swamp. I'm Swamp Dweller, and tonight I'm going to take you on a mystic journey of the unknown, sharing tales of monsters, legends, and nightmares. Welcome to the Spaced Out Radio Swamp. This might sound strange, but as a child I used to see things that are not normal. And not just that, I also suffer from sleep paralysis, which started when I was 11 years old. And when I experience sleep paralysis, I often see otherworldly creatures or leave my body. Aside from all this, I have had other strange paranormal experiences too. But there is one creature I often see. I have written about it before. This angel-like creature that often visits me. This angel-like creature is tall, shaped like a human, but tall with angel-like wings, completely dressed in white and faceless, but speaks with a woman's voice. It has told me many times before that if I ever have any troubles in life, then I might just call on its name. When I ask who he is, it usually doesn't reply, but finds a way to draw a cross so that I can see it, and so that I am left with the image of a cross burnt into my mind. So, this one cold evening, I was out after dark. I was in my 20s. I drew cold air and suddenly, it seemed like I was smoking like a chimney when I exhaled. My hands were freezing. I was out camping with friends and my husband, and I had gotten myself lost. I left to go to the bathroom, but being a curious creature, the urge to go on a dark adventure suddenly distracted me. I left the bathroom and declined to go back to the campsite. I decided to rather go into the bushes, into that area, which we were not actually allowed to go. They had closed the area off, and it made me exceedingly more curious as to why. I climbed over the chain they had placed between the two trees and ignored the no entry sign. I ventured deeper and deeper into the dark. I suddenly heard something. I followed the sound. It turned out to be a water bug. It ran off and scared me. I sighed with relief. I held tighter to my torch. Suddenly, the air became even colder. I ventured off deeper into the dark. When I turned around after deciding that it was too dangerous now, and realized that I was lost, I had been met with a crossroads, and didn't know which path or road led back to the campsite anymore. My heart began to pound a little. I tried my best not to panic, but then I heard a weird sound that I knew all too well. It is a strange sound that is usually made by that angelic-like creature that I mentioned earlier. Since I was a kid, I have heard it several times, and I knew If it was near, there was always something to be scared of, because danger was always not far away. Like all the other times before I had seen it, bad things shortly happened after. It was only then that I realized that there were other familiar beings there as well, that I have also seen before. But these ones I believe I've only seen once or twice. 3 shadow figures that chased and hunted me down when I was little. They created the sound of this utterly evil laughing. Then I saw them stretching out their shadowy hands towards me, and they began to move towards me fast. Following the moonlight to keep themselves visually in sight, I dropped my torch and began to run. I suddenly remembered the cross the angelic creature drew before. I turned around, and before I could even say his name, these 3 shadow figures just disappeared. Still lost, I saw a small narrow path that led from one of the main pathways that I was on even deeper into the bushes. I began following it, curiosity overtaking me again. Then I came across an old building that looked like it had been out of use for many years. I didn't have my torch with me anymore, but luckily it was a full moon, and I could see somewhat well. I tried peeking in through the windows. Each window I peeked in revealed darkness. It was too dark inside the building for me to see anything on the inside, though. Not even the full moon helped with that. But I tried another window too. I decided to try all of the windows, and to my greatest regret, I saw, inside the cabin, some sort of creature. I don't even know how to describe it. I guess my best comparison would be a werewolf of some sort. This thing looked like it was messing with an axe, though, or carrying it or something. Because I could see it, or rather hear it, swinging it around. I ran back as fast as I could. I had no idea where I was going, but eventually, I made it back to where there was a security guard for the campground. I told them all about everything, but he didn't believe me and reassured me there was no such thing out there. Eventually, I made it back to my tent, but I never slept. I've never really told anybody about what happened that night, because I don't think people will believe me.
Thank you, Swamp Dweller, for another creepy story. If you want more just like that, head on over to YouTube, hit subscribe on his channel. Thousands of stories for you to listen to, and they are incredible. Let's head to the UFO report.
That is an interplanetary flying space saucer. You have made me very angry. Very angry indeed.
Little Timmy James is usually in studio, but he's at home tonight. You want to explain to everybody why you're not in studio tonight?
Because I'm in detention. No, we're just David. My adventure on Saturday, where I've been editing a bunch of video and stuff and all the filming and stuff that we did up there. And yeah, it was going along really good. I was flying through it last night, and then when I came down this morning to check some stuff out, I realized that there was a glitch in the system and had to recover all the video clips and reformat them and all that sort of fun stuff, and then start all over again.
Lovely. Have you got
it? So that's why I'm here. What's that?
You got it figured out now?
I do so.
So a lot of people are wondering when you're going to release that on our YouTube channel.
Well, after the head cook and chief bottle washer, Mr. Dave Scott, reviews the video tomorrow at some time. It could be up as early as tomorrow early evening.
Beautiful. We will do a premiere on that on our website, spacedoutradio.com. Thank you for your hard work on that.
No worries.
All right. So let's get right to the UFO report, because there is a lot going on. Jeremy McGowan released a very, very interesting report about Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, and other billionaires trying to get into the UFO game secretly behind the scenes. McGowan released a report that he wrote, 65 pages long. if you want to include the intros and the terminology and everything like that. One thing that I was very interested in this, and we're going to be talking to Jeremy about getting him on the show about this, because you know that I've been very interested in the Peter Thiel connection.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like there is a lot of people out there in the UFO world who are putting 2 plus 2 together and saying there seems to be something a little bit more to this, that the billionaire owner of Palantir, former owner of PayPal with Elon Musk, really seems to be getting more involved with UFOs. We know a few years ago he's the money man behind Enigma Labs UFO Reporting Center, which all of your information, if you report there, does get into government hands and private contractor, defense contractor hands. We know that he has a tie to YouTuber Jesse Michaels. Michaels used to work for him, became a very wealthy individual because of working for Peter Thiel, and now I believe has stepped away from those to concentrate on the UFO story. And that seems to have influenced a lot more YouTube influencers towards the story. But I find it very interesting with this report that it does come down to what's being talked about or not talked about in Washington, D.C. regarding how high this subject really is, because they all want a piece of that technology, Tim. That's what it's about. It's not about the aliens. It's not about the disclosure. It's about the technology.
Mm-hmm.
What can we learn, or what can we get from that? And let's face it, how many times have you heard me say, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, that this is the new multi-trillion-dollar industry if it ever goes public?
No doubt. No doubt. Yeah, I mean, I didn't get to read that article today because I was up to my eyeballs in some other stuff. But I mean, just in general, yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on with people with some money. And I mean, I'm even referring to the Pentagon has put out UAP investigators. They're exploring new options for better tracking and managing confidential reports. So I saw that today too. And it's about private contractors. Again, these guys with money that want to bid on being able to control not only, I guess, the narrative, but also control the information that Arrow is receiving from outside sources. So instead of Arrow actually taking care of the case studies, they've got other people bidding, and they're looking for contractors with high security clearance to come in and take over this data collection and be able to source it out to Arrow in compartmentalized sections. So yeah, there's a lot of crap going on that I just don't get. And yeah, it's now, we got the billionaires involved. We've got I'm just seeing a big money game happening here. So not a surprise, I would say, but yeah, just I'm not sure what's going on, but yeah, it's the deep pockets that seem to be grabbing hold of technology. And with this thing with Arrow, obviously when it goes through and they get somebody in here that's going to, monitor the data, like, I don't understand that. What are they going to do with that data? Exactly what you're saying, right? It's about the technology and what can they find out. And it's more, contractors owned by billionaires and blah, blah, blah. So it all falls into the same kettle of fish, I guess you could say.
It really does. And it is a little bit uncomfortable, in my opinion, right? Because one of the things that was sparked up on X earlier today, because let's face it, the X crowd is very, very passionate about this subject.
True.
Was why can't one of the big things, let me phrase this properly, because I'm speeding up here and I got to slow down a second here. Okay, but one of the things that was stated in regards to the billionaires and all of the UFO researchers is how they turned a black eye, or their back, to people who had been doing this for years, people who have a lot of love for this subject. They've turned their back completely to them and didn't use their decades of research to their advantage, therefore sparking a lot of controversy within the UFO field. And if you go back a number of years, I mean, there are some, even today, there's brilliant people in the field today who are not part of this scientific calling like Gary Nolan or Eric Davis or people like that, or even Avi Loeb from Harvard. You know, I think of Dr. Michael P. Masters being one of them. But if you go in the past, whether it's Leo Sprinkle, whether it's Jim Mars or Stanton Friedman, Grant Cameron, Richard Dolan, why weren't these people used? Why were they shunned? Was it because of the stigma that the government has on this subject and not wanting to admit? Or did they really think that they could do a better job in promoting ufology, promoting that this is real, and it's really put a lot of egg on their face?
Yeah. You know, but I have my own idea of this, and I may be way off base, but this is just my idea. It's like you and I have discussed, and the audience has heard it many times. Of you speaking about journalism and true journalism, okay? Drawing a parallel with true journalism and people that are self-proclaimed journalists. I think you're seeing, in my opinion, I think you're seeing that in the same thing with researchers. I think the real researchers, like you mentioned, the old school people that have worked and worked and worked and worked to build this, are now the old journalists. They're the true journalists. They're getting pushed aside, and I'm not trying to be one of those people that's slamming a generation, but you've got a lot of people that it's a right now generation. And if I can be a self-proclaimed researcher and just regurgitate stuff that's already been researched and that I can use, you know what I'm saying? Then I think, this is I'm an expert and I'm a pro and I'm the mayor of the small town. And I think that's the attitude. I think that it's just pure laziness. And I think that keeping them trying to keep some of the old school people out of it, I think keeps them as look at me. Instead of working together, they're trying to gain fame by regurgitating what's already been done and changing phrases from CE5 to psionics and blah, blah, blah. I think that's what we're seeing. And that's just my opinion. Like I say, I could be totally off base with it, but that's the way I'm looking at it right now. And I'm like, yeah, it's just cheesy and it's cheap. That's the way I see it. And not recognizing the people that have worked their behinds off for all this time to get this information out. I'd be embracing them. I'd be like, I want to learn more and I want some help from you guys. But no, I think it's a 15 minutes of fame and how many clicks I could get and how many subscribers I can get to my channel. I think that's all it is.
Well, I mean, we're going to see how this plays out over the next little bit. Now, I know, getting back to Jeremy McGowan's article, which can be found on X, I'll see if we could put it up on our Spaced Out Radio news for people to read, just in case. I got to talk to Jeremy and see if he would allow us to do that.
Right.
But I know there's a part 2 coming.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be taking a break for a few weeks, but he is going to be writing a part 2 about this, where he gets more into the financial aspect of Enigma Labs and other funding that seems to be going on. And this is why I always say to our listeners, follow the patterns.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of UFO groups out there, too many to count right now. Okay, that if you look at the names on the lists of these UFO or / UAP disclosure groups,
Mm-hmm.
they're all tied together with the same people.
Yeah.
They're stapled together tightly because they're all doing one thing. They're all bidding for funding.
Yep.
So if you don't fund one group, well, you may get that money in another group, so on and so forth. And that's really the way it's being played. I mean, we're watching a lot of lobbying going on right now. And to me, it's uncomfortable because that's not what ufology is about.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's 2 big stories here. It's follow the money and why have they really shut down the UFO aspect. They're biggest supporters. Imagine saying you can win a lottery, okay, but people are not allowed to buy tickets.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense.
You know, I mean, it just doesn't make sense. You're in line at the food court, but they're not going to serve you food.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why would you bite the hand that feeds you? I mean, look, I'll use a hockey analogy. I'm an Edmonton Oilers fan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're in the playoffs. I want my team to win. I will support my team
Sure.
because I'm a fan. It doesn't matter whether it's hockey, baseball, basketball, golf,
Mm-hmm.
football, whoever it may be, except soccer, because that doesn't count. Okay. I go there to support the people that I want to cheer for.
Right.
And you know what? Those athletes, for the most part, barring some bad apples, they care about the fans.
Sure.
They care about the fans. And I'm not saying the ones who are hounding them for autographs or whatever,
Mm-mm.
but you know what? I've been at a bar one night. I've been at the Roxy in Vancouver after a hockey game. You know, when I worked in radio, and I
Yep.
see a few players there, and I walked up to them and said, "Hey, great game tonight."
Sure.
And I've watched people do that. And they're very thankful for that.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you popped 2 goals tonight. Great game for you. Congrats. Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate that. And they do.
Yeah.
But in ufology, it's kind of like we're pushing them away. We don't want anything to do with you, little green men and tinfoil hat wearing people.
Right.
TTSA made, and it's amazing that nobody listened to what happened to the TTSA. Lou Elizondo stated to me that the biggest mistake TTSA made was ignoring the public,
Mm-hmm.
biting the hand that feeds them. And we see all of these UFO groups doing that today because they all have their eye on the government green.
That's it.
They want those Benjamins. They want stacks and stacks of Benjamins. Your $2 donation as a UFO enthusiast or experiencer, or your $10 donation, or even your $1,000 donation, they don't care about that. They want the big bucks with no whammies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yep.
So realistically, you as a human being, you as an experiencer, you as a contactee, an abductee, it means nothing to them.
Right.
I mean, just to put into perspective, if you look at the big picture, if you look at what Skywatcher is doing, they're renaming all the UFOs. Why? Stigma.
Yep.
They renamed CE5.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Stigma. That's why we got psionics. They're not accomplishing anything new. They may take the research further, but they're not accomplishing anything new.
Yeah, exactly.
They're taking hard work that has been done for decades, centuries, millennia in summoning UFOs,
Mm-hmm.
and they're trying to make it their own.
Yep.
That's what they're doing.
Yep.
You don't need to change the names of the UFOs. If it looks like a boomerang, call it a boomerang. It doesn't hurt anybody.
Exactly. Exactly. Nope, you hit the nail on the head, man. Hey, it's a Kleenex, it's a tissue. It's the same thing. It doesn't matter what you name it. It's still the same thing. Right?
Absolutely. Tim, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because hard to believe we're already at the bottom of the hour. 1/2 hour to go of the UFO report with little Timmy James at his home studio. It's always a good time when Tim is here, isn't it? Love having Tim here. UFO report continues after this.
This is Spaced Out Radio and your host, Dave Scott.
All right, buddy, we're clear.
Excellent.
Good start.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I didn't get to even read that article, what you were talking about today. I was like, oh, that sounds so interesting. I'm just a little
It
too,
happens.
yeah, just a little too caught up in stuff today. I was like whipping through stuff today. I wasn't, had other stuff going on, trying to get this new video out for everybody. And sweating that I hope that I hadn't lost the footage. I was like, oh my gosh, Dave's gonna kill me.
What did you lose?
No, I thought I lost all the footage, all the video clips. I downloaded them all and started editing last night, obviously. And yeah, I finished with some of Phil's stuff, and then I got on that, and no problem. Got it all formatted. Everything was set up. Got it through the editing, or got it onto the editing program. Was working away on it. Everything was going fine. I saved it, shut it down. Then I came back this morning to check on something, and none of the clips would work. All the format or whatever had just been like magically erased. I was like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? So figured out how to pull it all back out of wherever it was hiding and get it all in. And it was just some lagging now that I got the video and the audio all synced up again. It's like, so now I'm just piecing it together. So we're back in business.
Cannot get comfortable.
Sciatica?
No, just jumpy legs tonight.
Oh, no.
And you know when your zipper, the the handle on the zipper, where it sticks up and then it like keeps poking you in the gut.
Yep.
Yeah, I got that going on right now.
Awesome.
Don't like that.
No. So Grant Lee show was great tonight.
Yeah, fantastic. Good addition.
Yeah.
Good addition.
Yeah, I was sitting here actually editing, and my TV's over here, and I was listening and kind of lurking, and yeah, it was pretty good. I was like, right on. Very good.
I had a tiring day today.
Did you?
Oh yeah.
You went from hero to zero again?
No.
Oh, good. Okay.
No. No, not today.
Good. Noticed on the highway today.
It's supposed to be my day off.
Oh yeah, it's Wednesday.
Yeah.
Oh right.
Dave didn't get a day off.
Huh. Think I got a bear sleeping over where the RV is in the yard here? In between the road and the RV, down in that big huge swale. Yeah, my dogs won't go anywhere near that area. I was trying to look today, but I was like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to climb down in there.
Come on. Go see the bear.
What's that?
Go see the bear.
Yeah.
We've got about a minute 20. Jeff Steve Garvey is here. He'll hit a home run for you. Do you think Lou is still playing the part of government agent in ufology? Well, Lou is part of uapology.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, ufology must die. That being said, you can never take the agent out of the agency. Even if they retire, quit, move on to become a contractor. The agent is always the agent who is always the agent.
And he was on Dr. Phil.
Figure out that riddle, you have your answer.
And he was on Dr. Phil today.
Yeah. Reality Meat Grinder, welcome to SOR Chat. Thank you tonight to Kitty Cattywax, Shaq Valet, Dry Toast, Caged, and Sweet Tony for the super chats tonight. Greatly appreciate your nightly love of SOR. It's a great way to support what we do. Don't forget, you can shop at our store as well. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag. And we got more new stuff coming here very, very soon. I'm going to be making some hoodies up as well. Here we go. Here we go with the final half hour of Spaced Out Radio and the UFO Report tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We appreciate you tuning us in, and I hope you're having fun listening to us each and every night. Reminder to all of you that if you missed most of this show or others, our archives are always free on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Here we go, little Timmy James in the UFO Report continuing right now. Good to have you with us, Tim. What do you got for us?
Well, I guess there was some stuff going on in Japan's parliament today. So in a landmark move, Japan's parliament convened a historic hearing on UAP and UFOs, signaling a significant shift in the nation's approach to these mysterious sightings. The session was attended by prominent figures, including former Defense Minister Yasukazu Hamada and U.S. Congressman Eric Burleson, who collectively urged global leaders to disclose information regarding non-human intelligence. So the hearing marked the second official meeting of Japan's bipartisan parliamentary group dedicated to investigating UAPs and UFOs from a national security perspective. Established in May of 2024, the group comprised over 80 lawmakers, including former defense ministers, and aims to push the Japanese government to create dedicated agency or protocol for UFO and UAP sightings. Their objectives also include fostering international cooperation, particularly with the United States, and bringing more scientific and security-focused transparency to the study of UAPs and UFOs. During the hearing, Congressman Eric Burleson emphasized the importance of transparency and international collaboration in addressing the potential security risks posed by UAPs. He highlighted the need for governments worldwide to share information and work together to understand these phenomena better. Former Defense Minister Yasukazu Hamada, who chairs the parliamentary group, reiterated the urgency of the matter, stating that unidentified aerial phenomenon could pose significant security threats if they are advanced technologies from other nations. He called for the establishment of a dedicated entity within the Japanese government to improve information gathering and analysis capabilities regarding UAPs and UFOs. The hearing also featured insights from Christopher Mellon, a UAP expert and former U.S. intelligence official, who addressed the group via an online speech. Mellon praised Japan's initiative, noting that unmanned weapons and artificial intelligence are creating new challenges that necessitate comprehensive understanding and international cooperation. The parliamentary session represents a significant step in Japan's effort to address the mystery surrounding UAPs and UFOs seriously. By involving high-ranking officials, international partners, Japan is positioning itself at the forefront of global discussions on the implications of unidentified aerial phenomenon and the potential existence of non-human intelligence. Ooh.
Love it.
Yeah. So interesting. I thought, okay. And my brain got going, right? I was like, okay, so if Japan's making this move, and I had Eric Burleson there and all that good stuff, I'm like, okay, will that possibly help get a ball rolling or maybe put a little bit of a fire under somebody's, some people's feet to try to move this along? Because again, we talked about it last week, catastrophic disclosure. If Japan all of a sudden goes, ha, boom, here it all is, right? I'm just wondering, curious.
I think we have to also look at the fact, too, that the United States government does not want any other country disclosing.
That's right.
That would be catastrophic for them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if Japan all of a sudden opened up the floodgates, you know how many private conversations there would be about that? How are you releasing that? Because remember, the U.S. has their fingers in almost every westernized and modern country.
For sure.
Okay?
For sure.
And if they are having these type of interactions, the U.S. will probably say, look, if you want some of our F-35s, we need you to stop on this.
Mm-hmm.
We need you to not be doing this right now.
Right.
And it all comes down to, once again, what you said in the first half hour, the money.
Mm-hmm.
And
For sure.
I think that, yes, we're going to see these high-profile talks going on with U.S. officials and governments around the world.
Oh,
But
yeah.
if Japan, let's just say Japan did disclose, that would be alarming.
Yes. Yes, for
So
sure.
the question is, can they keep these countries under wraps? What do you think?
I was thinking of it while you were talking, actually, and I'm thinking that um, in I would probably suspect that Japan, being the country that it is, and standing tall on honor and all that sort of stuff, I'm thinking if they had a handshake deal with the U.S. government and said, "Look, we can work on this together," and U.S. probably being the dictator and the big brother of the whole thing, I think Japan would probably honor the requests of the United States and say, "Okay, we'll just hold off and we'll just play it, keep our cards close to our chest," right? Now, I don't think something like China, North Korea, any of the other places, Russia, I think that if they decided or they found out and they wanted to let her rip, I think they'd let it rip, right? But I think Japan, because they're friends with the United States, I think that they would probably pump the brakes on it. I don't think that they'd dump it all, but I'm sure that they'd share the information with the United States. That's for sure.
What next you got for us?
Well, Mr. Jeremy Corbell unveils a stunning new UFO evidence igniting global debate. So, obviously, investigative journalist and filmmaker Jeremy Corbell has once again thrust the topic of UAP into the global spotlight with the release of a jaw-dropping new evidence that challenges conventional understanding of aerial phenomenon. Known for his relentless pursuit of transparency regarding UAPs, Corbell, alongside fellow journalist George Knapp, dropped the bombshell on their podcast Weaponized, revealing previously classified details about a massive cruise ship-sized UFO observed hovering beneath a commercial U.S. plane. The revelation, discussed during a bipartisan congressional briefing, has sent shockwaves through both the public and the scientific community, adding more fuel to the fire about extraterrestrial life and government secrecy. So, the centerpiece of Corbell's latest disclosure is a never-before-seen image of a disc-shaped object described as a disc in the clouds, captured by satellite imagery and allegedly known within intelligence circles as a near legendary piece of footage. Corbell confirmed he has personally viewed the classified material, which he claims depicts a craft exhibiting physics-defying capabilities. According to Corbell, the object was observed in close proximity to a U.S. commercial airliner, raising urgent questions about airspace safety and the potential technological superiority of these unidentified crafts. The image, which remains classified, was discussed in detail by former U.S. National Security official Matthew Brown, who publicly identified himself as a whistleblower. Brown's testimony alleges that the U.S. government has been actively concealing evidence of such encounters, including data that confirm the presence of non-human intelligence. Corbell's revelations come on the heels of a series of high-profile leaks he has facilitated over the past year, including footage of Tic Tac UAPs recorded by Navy personnel aboard the USS Jackson in 2023, and a jellyfish UAP captured over a U.S. military base in Iraq. These incidents, Corbell argues, point to a pattern of advanced, intelligently controlled objects operating with impunity in restricted airspace and even transitioning seamlessly between air and water. He has described these crafts as demonstrating transmedium capabilities, moving effortlessly from the atmosphere to the ocean without creating a splash or leaving debris. Such behavior, he asserts, suggests technology far beyond current human capability, fueling speculation about the origins. The congressional briefing, where this latest UFO image was discussed, reportedly left lawmakers stunned, with some calling for greater transparency from the Pentagon and other defense agencies. Brown's testimony highlighted a secretive program known as Immaculate Constellation, which allegedly collects and quarantines the military's most compelling UAP evidence, shielding it from the public and even congressional oversight. So Corbell's work has not been without controversy, obviously. Skeptics argue that the lack of publicity available high-resolution footage undermines the credibility of these claims, while other questions whether the objects could be advanced military technology from terrestrial adversaries. However, Corbell counters that the consistency of eyewitnesses' accounts, radar data, and leaked footage points to a phenomenon that defies conventional explanation. He has also pointed at the Pentagon's own Arrow, which recently reported hundreds of unexplained UAP and UFO incidents, including a near collision with a commercial airliner off the coast of New York. These official acknowledgments, Corbell argues, lend weight to his assertions that the government possesses far more evidence than it has disclosed.
Let me ask you this on this.
Sure.
Do we need more talk about transmedium flight? Do we need more talk about propulsion systems, anti-gravitics?
Well, no, but I mean, in my opinion, I don't think so. But I would dare to venture into that. That's the nuts and bolts side, right? And I don't think I need to hear any more about it. I don't think it needs to be, keeps going over and over again. But I can see why they're doing it, because there's, people that eat that stuff up, and that's their jam, for lack of a better term. So catering to a certain group and catering to a certain compartmentalized part of this whole ufology or ufology, I think that's what him and Knapp are doing.
It's very interesting because, Jeremy is very much a UFO guy.
Mm-hmm.
And yet he keeps, all his work is in the UAP world.
Yeah.
And, for a guy who's never worked a day in journalism, he's done some good work.
Yeah.
I know people like to crap on him. He's a very confident person. Some may say egotistical.
Yes.
But people believe he's a very confident person. And in the times I've chatted with him, he's very matter of fact.
Mm-hmm.
He's a very blunt guy. Okay. Nice beard too. I mean, you can never go wrong with that.
No.
But just the point that I'm getting at is, and no matter what video he has released or the government has released,
mm-hmm.
it's always the same speech afterwards. It's anti-gravitics. It's 0 point energy. It's, everything to do with its molecular structure and where's it coming from? It's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what do they say? Rinse, dry, repeat?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I mean, and in saying that, you're bang on. And I've noticed that obviously with Elizondo. I mean, he does his touring though. And I can understand where Lou will repeat stuff and wave the same flag and stuff because he's on tour and he does public speaking. I'm with you a little bit on this. I don't understand why Corbell on his own podcast, which him and Knapp have or host together, that yeah, he just regurgitates stuff, and it doesn't make sense. He's got the platform, and he's got the audience to really expand and explore, but he kind of just stovepipes, I guess, and just keeps following. I don't know. I wouldn't say what's popular, but he just kind of he follows that one path, and it's frustrating too, because I agree with you. He's an intelligent guy, very opinionated, but yeah, I'm looking to hear more and maybe get some more meat and potatoes from him instead of the same bologna, ham and bologna sandwich every day, right?
Always down to the ham and bologna sandwich.
Absolutely. On white bread.
Exactly. We got 5.5 minutes. What do you got for us?
Well, did you ever hear about the man who attacked a UFO with a bag of onions?
Oh. How do
So-
we even get this?
All right. So it was a peaceful late summer evening in the French countryside, and Jean-Pierre Prévost, a farmer in his 40s, was walking home. By the way, this happened in 1974. These are allegedly true stories. So, okay. So in his 40s, was walking home from the market, swinging a heavy cloth bag full of onions, probably the Frenchest possible thing to be carrying besides a baguette on a bicycle. So as Jean-Pierre neared his small plot of land outside La Rochelle, he noticed a strange object in the nearby field, a metallic dome, about 8 feet wide, hovering silently a few feet above the ground. From it extended 3 mechanical legs and 2 small beings, each barely a full meter tall, dressed in what looked like tight-fitting silver suits. They had oversized heads, slit-like eyes, and total disregard for personal space. Now, Jean-Pierre did not waste time with questions. He did not run. He did not scream. He did what any no-nonsense French farmer might do when faced with extraterrestrial trespassers. He charged them, swinging his bag of onions like a medieval flail. The aliens, possibly shocked by his bold culinary aggression, reportedly retreated into their crafts, which immediately began to emit a high-pitched whirring sound. Jean-Pierre, undeterred, threw an onion at the ship, yelling what we can only assume were strongly worded French objections. The UFO, perhaps unfamiliar with root vegetable warfare, rose into the air and zipped off into the sky, leaving behind 3 burned patches of grass, and the man yelling at the clouds with onion in hand and a righteous fury in his heart. So Jean-Pierre filed a report the next day. Investigators visited the scene and confirmed scorched, circular marks on the field consistent with what would later be described in similar close encounter cases. Even more bizarrely, one of the local cows, yes, a cow again, reportedly refused to go near the landing site for weeks. Confidence? Perhaps. Or perhaps the cow simply had a stronger sense of self-preservation than the aliens. Jean-Pierre never changed his story. He didn't seek fame. He didn't start a podcast. He simply became the man who once drove off an alien visitation with a bag of onions and then presumably made soup. To this day, no one has solved the mystery of what those beings wanted or why they landed in the field near a man with vegetables and a short temper. But the message was clear. Aliens may have technology, but Earth has onions.
So basically what you're saying is if you want to drive off the aliens, put a necklace of onions together like you would garlic.
That's right.
Okay, and wear that. Garlic's good for the vampires.
Yeah.
Now onions are good for the Greys. You know, with the Greys with their big black almond-shaped eyes.
Right.
I wonder how they react to a few onions getting into, getting in there. They must tear up.
I
There's
would
no
think
way.
so.
There's
I
no
would-
way they're making that through.
No, definitely not. And then especially if you got a little kid from South Africa throwing corn at you too. Like it's just a vegetable palooza, right? How to ward off aliens.
We're 2 ingredients into a good alien soup here.
That's right. That's right. Well, we had pancakes last week, but
Well, that's breakfast, though. We're talking
I know.
dinner here.
yeah, that's right. So now it'll be some
I mean,
broth.
Do we know if they were White onions or the purple onions?
Well, I guess we'll never know because Jean-Pierre, we'll have to phone him up and find out.
He didn't give that secret up, eh?
Nope, not at all. Not at all.
My goodness. We got about 2 minutes to go here. I don't know if I would start swinging onions at an alien.
No, I mean, I think that it's like pulling your phone out of your pocket to get a picture. I think I would be more flabbergasted and astonished that I'm standing there and there's aliens walking towards me. I don't know, man. I could see my grandfather when he was alive. He probably would have done that. Probably would have smacked one of them or something like that. Was his thought process. He was no nonsense, but not me. I think I'd just be like, alrighty then.
Yeah, I would be totally stone-faced. Totally stone-faced.
Yeah.
And then Samantha would have to come grab my hand and take me away
Uh-huh.
while I'm crying and wetting my pants, that's for sure.
Well, sometimes. Definitely.
When in Rome, as they say.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm also very curious once again about the Jeremy McGowan article. Jeremy's a highly controversial figure in ufology. If you type in Osiris, OSIR,
Right.
IUS.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I had to think there for a second.
Oh, yeah.
OSIR IUS on X. You can find Jeremy there and read the 65-page report that he wrote. It's very in-depth, and I think it's really opening the eyes to what is going on. And like I said, we're going to bring him on Spaced Out Radio probably the first week of June in order to get things going, see how it goes. But Tim, thank you very much for a good UFO report. Always appreciate you, my friend. As we say goodnight to Tim, and hello to Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal, rocking in the background with Little Brother is watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, Elga, Facebook, Spreaker, LinkedIn, the Space Travelers Club, and on X at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is brought to you by Bigfoot Broadcasting Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends,
don't make a mistake. We're watching.
We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night, everybody. Good job, my man.
Thanks, buddy.
Right on.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
I need you to stick around for a minute. I just want to quickly chat with you.
Okay.
So for the rest of you, tomorrow night on the show, I'm going to cut this early because I do have to have a quick chat with Timmy here. For the rest of you, tomorrow night on the show, Grant Cameron, since my birthday is on Saturday, I will not have my regular birthday show. So I booked it for tomorrow, which is my dad's 76th birthday.
Nice.
And Grant Cameron, our guest tomorrow night. Thank you, Shaq Valet, Kitty Caddywhack, Dry Toast, Caged on the Inside, and Sweet Tony for the great super chats. We'll see you all tomorrow, everybody.
healthy, my friend.
You too.
You need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.